Blackline Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday evening. Welcome to another episode of the Blackline Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim, and we got a fun show. This is going to be a jam-packed, interactive, back and forth, community bonding, building episode, all right? Because there was it was pre-recorded, but it just got posted. I guess it's like a group debate. I don't know what you would call it, but, you know, Brandon Straka sat down with a lot of people on both sides of the Charlie Kirk investigation, the Charlie Kirk assassination and the Tyler Robinson investigation, sat down for a kind of, no holds bar back and forth. And some of our least favorite people are there, scattered in with people that we have no idea. I mean, some of these people I've never seen before. Others we know, Harrison Smith is there and some others that are, known within this arena. And we're going to watch it. And also, I have other things to get to if we do. I'm going to try my best not to interject, kind of like what we did with the Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson debate. So I'll gauge it based on what you guys are feeling and are wanting from this. However, I think it'll be important to, at certain points, depending on what Gary Meltdown says and others on the opposite side of the aisle, if some of these guys on, our respective side don't, pick up on the lie, the misinformation, the narrative control, or something, I just will want to point that out to not let it go unnoticed. So, by the way, so if I ever do 2 shows in a day, please do go. Yeah, but I understand. I've gotten emails saying, like, ever since you have done this full time and you're doing multiple shows in a day, it's hard to keep up. You don't have to. I would love it if you did. Don't get me wrong. Always show up for the like and the comment at the very least. But I mean, I understand with everyone's schedule and the day, the way the world is and everyone's families and work and everything, no one feel obligated to show up to every single live that I do. Okay. I would love it if you did, but I don't expect that. So don't think that just because I'm doing a live, I expect everyone to be there. Never the case. But while you guys are here, while I have your undivided attention, can you guys please hit the like? Can you hit the like and hit the subscribe? Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the like. Pretty please. All right. Enough. Uh-oh. What did I just do? I moved it. How did I do that? That was weird. Can I do it like this? Okay, I think I fixed it. All right, that was weird. It just like moved its placeholder. All right, you guys, we're going to get right into it. Let's see. Everybody's here. Oh, Muppet Masher. What up, bro? Good to see you. Let's see. Alex got mittens. Dulcinea holding it down. Who else is here? Jim Carrey holding it down. Mods, you guys are the best mods on the planet. Mystic is always one of the best mods on the planet. If she's here, we love her. If she's not, we love her still. All right. The Tiffinator. Let's see. Alex got mittens gave me a shout out on Barron's. Well, that's cool. I appreciate that. You're not the first. You won't be the last, but I don't know what it is. Some people never want to acknowledge my existence. I don't get it. It is what it is. So, did you get my email? It depends. I don't know, Jonathan. You're going to have to be specific. Most people's YouTube handles are not the same as their emails. So I would have no way to know which one it is just based on you saying, did you get my email? Unless your email says whatever your handle is and it's the exact same. Typically it's not though. So very possible. All right. If you send me another one right now, it'll be at the top of the queue and I'll know exactly who you are. But the emails are coming in and they're coming in crazy. You are my favorite podcaster. Thank you so much, Alex. this is my favorite place to be. All right. And you guys are my favorite people. I love you too. Let's get into it. Without further ado, Brandon Straka and a bunch of other people. Here we go. Oh, Alex Stein. Ready?
I think Charlie Kirk's dead. You're talking about it defending him, but you're monetizing his death too. And I mean,
the thing with Candace is, and I don't know what her intent is. I don't know what's in her mind. I don't know if it's displaced grief. I don't know if it's anger. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter.
Could be genuine concern.
It could be genuine
actually,
concern.
It could
I don't know her personally, so I don't know what
total
her
disgust
mind is, and I'm not
level
going to know.
If Israel was directly involved, not with an exploding microphone, but it's just whoever shot the shot was an Israeli agent. He hopped on a plane 5 minutes later out of Orem and shot off, never to be seen again. What evidence do you think the American government would provide to the American people about that?
None.
Well, typically a spouse is looked into.
What's that?
Typically a spouse, if there's a murder.
That's actually not true. Hold on. I want to finish this point before.
I just want to say that.
No, that's typically not true.
All right. I don't think we need to listen to the preview. Let's just where does it start? Let's see.
We're in Dallas this weekend shooting 4 different debates. Got a really amazing group of people together, mostly conservative people. A lot of what we're talking about right now is the divide that's going on in the conservative movement. But I wanted to kind of get you guys together sort of after hours, which is what's happening right now, and have a discussion about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Because obviously this is something that's being talked about day in and day out on the internet. And all across the spectrum, people are suggesting one thing, other people are suggesting another thing. It's kind of tearing us apart, but I think there's a lot to talk about. And I wanted to get some of the, I think, best minds in the movement here together and just have a conversation and see what you guys think. And Alex, will you kind of repeat what you said before about us wanting to talk about this?
Well, to me, I was personal friends with Charlie, and I think it is important that we talk about this. I think Charlie would investigate his own murder. Now, there's a lot of conspiracies out there, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, and this is the one conspiracy that I really don't jive with, because I don't think that when it comes to the evidence that they've shown that exploding microphones and this and Erica and yada, 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 if I was really using Occam's razor, I do think the simplest, outcome was that he was shot. Was it Tyler? Was, Lance Hughes involved? It's a very difficult conversation to have. And it's one that I've avoided. It's one that, not trying to call Buckley out, but his brother, Tucker, has really not gone and dived deep into, only because we're personally involved in this, right? And I'm personally involved. Now, Gary, Paramount, not so tactical, as Candace is saying, I'm not even saying that as a dig. He's been personally attacked by it, but I actually agree with some of the stuff that he said. I don't maybe agree with 100% of it, but I think it's an important conversation to have, because I think this is the conversation that Charlie would have, because he went to every single college campus and would talk to people that he doesn't agree with. And I think that is what he would do, is he would have these tough conversations.
Well, so where do you stand on it? I'm a little confused.
Well, personally, I do think that he was, I get choked up. I do think that Charlie was shot. I know and spoken to multiple people there, over 10 people. And one of the people that I talked to wasn't even a huge Charlie Kirk fan. He didn't think Charlie Kirk was far right enough. And this guy, if he told me that he heard an exploding microphone, I believe that he would have told me the truth. And he said that he heard a gunshot. So was it Tyler?
A couple things. So he didn't get choked up saying that Charlie Kirk was shot. That's a total BS. He's getting hung up on spewing the lie in front of a much bigger audience than his nighttime show that usually has 5 people watching, and on the replay maybe 100. Okay, so this is a much bigger platform, much bigger audience, and across from people that are much bigger, even though most people know who Alex Stein is. However, the other thing is, no, people aren't going to know the difference between a shaped charge exploding and a sound of a rifle shot being projected through the speaker system, or a firecracker, or an actual gunshot. Have you not seen all the variances of the eyewitness testimony about what they heard? It ranges from all of those things. People swear they heard firecrackers. Some people swear they heard a specific rifle, long rifle, loud, very specific, like a 30-06 rifle shot. Other people say it sounded like an explosion, something like, I don't know, like a bomb. It varies. So no, just because you knew someone that was there that supposedly wasn't far right, or thought Charlie wasn't far right enough, doesn't make them all of a sudden a trustworthy source and objective here, and that you just trust them that they said they heard a gunshot. Okay, what a great anecdote. Thanks, Alex.
Robinson, was he on the Losi rooftop? Was that him with the gun? I don't know. Some of the footage that I saw wasn't in 4K, like, a lot of these influencers said. But I do think that I've watched that video over and over. I do think Charlie was shot. And Was it the CIA? Was it Mossad? I would argue this, if you want my personal opinion, if it was Israel, then that means Israel, they just did the whatever Bill 119 or whatever it was, where the CIA and Mossad are basically, working
Urging.
together. So that would mean that America was involved in it too. So I just don't know if I can take that leap that Donald Trump and JD Vance would actually kill Charlie Kirk. But at the same exact time, Charlie Kirk was the most powerful young political figure in America. And I look at JFK, I look at Martin Luther King. There's a lot of weird stuff surrounding that. And I think there's a lot of similarities with Charlie Kirk's death.
There's a difference. People often use that line like Charlie Kirk would have wanted to investigate Charlie Kirk's death.
Okay, this is Viva Frei. He is one of the big mouthpieces besides Gary Melton and now a new mouthpiece, Andrew Wilson. But Viva Frei is a failed lawyer in my attempt. He's nothing wrong with Canadians, but he's a Canadian that now lives over here. He's inserted himself in this as some sort of a legal authority. He's on the Real America's Voice all the time. He's going around debating people on behalf of the official narrative, on behalf of the FedSlop narrative and TPUSA. Though he doesn't ascribe to every single component of it, the majority of parts he does, and he engages in straight up hit pieces on Candace Owens without any reserve. So that's Viva Frei. That's who we're looking at.
Absolutely. Everyone on earth would want their own murder to be investigated.
I wouldn't.
I don't think Charlie Kirk would have wanted this to turn into the media circus true crime.
And I don't think Erica Kirk had anything to do with her husband's death. I just want
So
to
appreciate that. Like people saying we're just asking questions versus turning it into an outright spectacle. There's a fine line that's not quite so fine. And so like Charlie Kirk would want people to investigate his death. Would that mean entertaining theories that Charlie Kirk's not actually dead? I mean, then why have a murder?
Okay, so I want to point this out. That gets brought up all the time. And this has always been my issue with the fake death. It does no good. That theory only does harm. It does harm to all of us that are labeled as conspiracy theorists, okay? Because that's part of the label, right? Of people that don't believe the official narrative. It completely tries to, whether it tries to or not, it is successful in slandering Charlie Kirk and saying that he would be a fake enough individual to mislead all of us as to who he really was and what he was willing to do, and that he would go along with all of this. The fake death narrative and those that espouse it is just, I've always had issue with that. And you hear it anytime it gets brought up, anytime on X or here, and you can tell that it doesn't do any good for anyone. It only does harm.
Trial. And so there's a fine line between asking questions, positing speculative hypotheses, and turning this into the circus that has been turned into for massive profits, massive followings growing, that it has been turned into over the last year. And asking questions and pursuing speculative, unsubstantiated hypotheses that make it actually harder to get to the actual truth and might result in the actual murderer getting off. And so, that line has been blurred. People want to justify their own morality or lack thereof to say, Charlie would have wanted us to investigate it. I don't think Charlie would have wanted a 20-part miniseries on the bride of Charlie from a disgruntled employee who's put out misinformation after misinformation.
Listen, Viva Frei, like all of his attacks are all directed at Candace. What is up with these little men, with the little men complex, the Napoleon complex, and their issue with Candace Owens? It is insane. They are like singularly focused on always taking jabs and attacking her. Like, man, it just couldn't be more clear that their whole goal is to try to take her down and destroy her. I mean, they don't even hide it. They've said it. They've all said it. They want to destroy her. They want to bankrupt her. They want to deplatform her, debank her, all of it.
Information that gets disproven, the goalposts move, and the defense is, I'm just asking questions, and when I have to revise my unsubstantiated and untenable theories, well, it's only because new information came in. Then don't come to speculative conclusions in the absence of any proof.
But Viva, let me say this one thing, because I am personally involved at Turning Point. A lot of the ideas that people have heard is that Charlie hated Candace. Well, Candace spoke at the Women's Leadership Summit in 2025. So that was basically a year ago from about last month. So Charlie was not on the outs with Candace. They might not have been, best friends as they were when they were doing the Kanye stuff, when they were building Turning Point. And I think a lot of the motivation that Candace has is, of course, she's getting a lot of views. I would just say this to Candace's face. she is jealous because she was there doing all of the work with Charlie, and now she looks at Erica Kirk as running the world's biggest political organization. I think it's bigger than CPAC. I think it is the biggest political organization, and I think there is some jealousy there. So I think that's part of her motivation.
Okay, this is all speculation, but I just want to point this out. We've heard it now from two different places. Plus, I don't know how he's going to resolve. I don't know if I like this setup. So I'm trying to figure out what's a better setup. I'm trying to make it big for you guys, but I'm like all the way down here. I think I might just leave it at this and leave the setup that my brother-in-law had. Okay, so we heard Blake Neff. I played it earlier today. He clearly said it, right? Was it Blake when I played it? Yeah, I think it was Blake, right? I'm trying to remember. I watched so many of these guys, it gets mixed up in my head. Where he was like, they were friends. They're always friends. I forget the statement, but I played it. Blake Neff admitted that Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk were friends to the very end. That never changed. Now we have Alex Stein, who I don't know what he's going to do when this airs today, and people like Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, Erica Kirk, and other people are pushing these narratives that Candace, and all Viva and Gary. I can't wait to hear their response that Candace and Charlie weren't friends, that actually Charlie was having people like Andrew Colvett and Blake manage and handle her because Charlie was afraid of Candace ruining the organization. No, that's not true. I can't wait to see how they respond to it.
To go after Erica. But at the same exact time, there's stuff surrounding his death that make me go, it just doesn't make sense. So that's why I think it's important to have these conversations, not because I want to taint the jury, but I want to know the truth. And that's why I'm frustrated with it, because a guy that I worked for, a guy that did me a lot of favors, he very easily could have fired me from Turning Point multiple times and always had my back. And a guy that is, to me, like I said, no disrespect to Tucker, no disrespect to Candace, no disrespect to Nick Fuentes, but that's the argument. Oh, why don't they take out those people? Charlie Kirk was much more powerful than them. Charlie Kirk had like the gift of gab. He was brilliant. He was just so much more powerful than your average political figure like Candace, or no offense, Tucker. And so when you take out a person like that, there's a reason for that. And I do kind of wrestle in my mind. I'm like, was it just a guy because he's with a furry and this and that? And all the evidence that I see, it kind of points me to that. But I'm just still in this mode where I don't think Candace is 100% right, but I don't think it's bad that she's investigating Charlie's death, because I do think that that's what he would want.
I don't think that.
done it.
I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
it's bad that she's investigating it, and I don't
this
get
chick?
the perception that it's based on jealousy. Now, I don't want the whole thing, I guess, to be focused on, is Candace right or
Cuccia?
wrong? I think the broader, more important, like what we're saying, right, is there substantial evidence right now, yes or no? Do we have full trust in our institutions to do the right thing or to not do the right thing? I don't think there's a strong trust in our institutions, and that heavily is derived by public opinion and what we're seeing now, where people maybe are very dissatisfied, whether they do watch Candace or not, whether they do agree with the Turning Point family or the new faces, I guess you would say, of the individual sitting in Charlie Kirk's studio every single show, which I think people feel very uncomfortable.
Real quick, so Gabrielle Cuccia is an American political strategist, conservative media personality, independent journalist, and former White House staffer. She has made frequent media appearances providing commentary and on prominent news networks, including Fox News. She was a White House staffer as well. Her White House experience served as strategic communications professional and investigative researcher in the White House and strategic intelligence sectors. Okay. All right. Now we know.
About, and maybe some people don't, right? Like, that's true, and that's all fair to say. I hate that we're in a place where if we do say that, because clearly I do find it quite odd that there's somehow we're painting the picture of like me, we, whoever's disagreeing with whoever is this evil, ugly person that just can't see straight. Because I don't think that's that. I think that
Well, let me clarify one
level.
thing, Gary, before you go.
Yep.
Maybe it's not even that Candace is jealous, but let's just say in a vacuum that Charlie and Candace were best friends when this happened. Candace would be the rightful heir to the throne. Candace is one of the most, brilliant young people. She's a great communicator. If they had no beef, if she wouldn't have gone anti-Israel, whatever it was that made her basically a little disconnected from Turning Point, Erica could still be the CEO. But I think that if you look at the likelihood of who would be the face of Turning Point USA, who could actually pick up the football from Charlie, The only person that, in my opinion, that could actually do it to the level that Charlie does it would be Candace. And so it's not even that she's jealous, but she sees something that she's built and that she sees another person running in. So that, I think that's why she's been attacking Erica. So I just want to clarify. Maybe it's not jealousy.
No. So clearly, Candace was there. She helped build it. She was there. She helped make it what it was. And during that time, her and Charlie became best of friends, like brother and sister. Okay. Very close. Okay. I don't think for 1 second she thought of it should be me. I want to do this. She's in a totally different place in her life. She has a husband and kids and an amazing platform and channel. She works for herself. She is unrestrained, like she had to be at the Daily Wire and other places where, like PragerU. There's not a single part of her, in my opinion, that wanted or felt that that should be her. What she did was she was like, I know who Charlie would want to take over in his absence. And it sure as hell would not be Andrew Colvett, even though that was his PR guy. It was never going to be that guy was on camera taking over a show. And same with Blake Neff. Give me a break. And from all the public appearances that Erica and Charlie did together, not once, not ever, did Charlie and Erica ever make a statement like Erica was the heir apparent and that she is the, successor to the kingdom, or that she would even take over or be capable of doing it. Do you know how many statements they said what Erica's role was to be the supporter, the mother, the wife, the spiritual, well, not the leader. Charlie was the spiritual leader, but raising the kids up in the ways of the Lord at home while Charlie's out grinding and making the money, supporting the family financially. Watching what everyone did in and around TPUSA after Charlie was murdered, even for all of us that didn't even have connections and experiences and relationships with these people, were able to look at this and go, that's not right. There's a lot wrong here. We maybe weren't able to put our finger on it immediately and say like, oh, I know what that is. But we definitely all saw and we were like, this is turning into something that it looks like Charlie was murdered to try to stop. And now he's gone. And now they're doing this. And she's like, over my dead body. No way. No, it doesn't deserve to exist if it's going to exist like this. That is a perversion of what Charlie built, lived, and died for. And you're just going to roll over and let them do this. That's another way of letting them get away with this. To let this go unchecked? No way. That was their goal, in my opinion, was to remove him from the equation so they could do whatever they wanted with it. And for someone as close to Charlie as Candace was, what other choice did she have? No, Alex, I don't agree. She didn't want it.
Yeah.
But I just think that she feels jaded that she's not carrying on Charlie's legacy as the leader of Turning Point, considering she built up with them with Kanye and just through the years.
Well, I mean, she was there a total of 17 months. I don't know how much you can attribute to what she has done. But with that being said, I mean, there is nothing wrong.
Charlie was close with Candace.
There's nothing wrong with
Bro, this guy is such a fraud. This guy can't even. Holy smokes. Notice that he disregards that. Oh, she was there 17 months. I guess if that's a big deal. Come on. Candace was there. She built it. He doesn't even address it. What a scumbag. You're so
speculating about what could happen, what did happen, and all those other things. The problem that is morally and ethically, and what I find quite frankly repulsive, is when you go into speculation where you're just using your imagination to fill in gaps, and that includes accusing his wife of killing Charlie Kirk or being involved in either.
There you go. You restated it, being involved somehow, right? And you telling us what morally and ethically should be done or what is morally or ethically right, bro, is like the freaking devil himself coming up here and telling us what we should be doing morally and ethically, dude. Come on. That's rich, bro. Coming from you.
The actual conspiracy to kill him or the cover-up to kill him. And by the way, a lot of other people tangentially around that. And I think that's where I find like the line is crossed. It's disgusting. And on top of that, just like we talked about a minute ago, where it's like now you do a multi-part series. Not only are you accusing Erica Kirk of through implication, it is accusation through implication. Not only of killing Charlie Kirk or being involved.
Well, she didn't say
Kirk.
that she shot him. I think she said that he had prior knowledge. So.
Like she had prior knowledge, which by the way is a crime. Also covering up is also a crime, and just being the fact that she's involved in his death. Like that's disgusting.
No, it's not.
But then on top of that,
none of it's true.
Well, typically a spouse is looked into.
What's that?
Typically a spouse, if there is a murder.
That's actually not true. That's hold on. I want to finish this point before.
I just want to say that.
It is true.
Like, that's typically not true, by the way. Not when you have what we have in place. When she's not even there and there's no evidence involved with that.
How do you know?
What even goes further is now she's saying that Erica Kirk, her being involved in his murder is not enough. Erica Kirk was involved with child sex trafficking prior to and while she's with, and also accusing TPUSA itself while Charlie Kirk was there involved in child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I don't think
that's where like people should draw, and then just like somebody else touched on.
Okay, if any of that was happening when Charlie was there, he was unaware of it. Okay, that's also part of the hypothesis, right? Is not that he was aware of it and allowed it to happen, and also no one said like verbatim this person like Erica or so on and so forth like that. We've proven that it is their ties. They have ties to that industry, okay? And to people, direct ties to people that were engaged in it. There's ties there for sure. 2 degrees of separation. You have Erica, Greg Laurie, abuser. That's it. And there's many others. You have Erica, Rick Cutler. Okay, so it's not as far removed as you say it is. Plus, what is the stat here? When a spouse is murdered, law enforcement standard procedure is to always thoroughly investigate the surviving spouse as an initial suspect. Most people are killed by someone they know. And investigators operate on the principle of examining those with the closest proximity, motive, and opportunity first. Being investigated does not automatically mean the surviving spouse is guilty or formally considered as a sole suspect. It is a mandatory baseline step. This is what it's saying. Mandatory baseline step in any proper homicide investigation. So the data here, data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Bureau of Justice Statistics, the BJS, show distinct statistical realities regarding spousal homicide. The disparity by gender, according to federal data, approximately 34% of female murder victims are killed by an intimate partner. By contrast, only about 6% of male murder victims are killed by an intimate partner. Okay. And then, yeah, it's overall intimate partners share when looking in homicide. Okay, that part's not relevant. But anyway, the first suspect rule is always the if they're married is the partner. First suspect rule, and it's mandatory as the initial step.
How many times do you get to be wrong? Was it the French Foreign Legion? Was it the Masons? Was it he was shot from beneath the table? Was there tunnels?
The bees.
Was there bees? Was the Jews? Was it the
Egyptian airplanes?
The Egyptian airplanes? Is it an exploding mic? Is it a camera gun? Is it a palm gun? Were there, like it has gotten crazy. And then on top of that, what she's built is a complete orbit around her. This has turned into a grifter industrial complex.
Oh, really?
A conspiracy industrial complex where it is now accepted, not only accepted, it is encouraged and incentivized to accuse people of murder with zero actual evidence.
But Gary, to your point, I will say this. I know Charlie personally. I think he spends $3 to $6 million. I haven't looked at it on his security. I don't think Brian Harpole killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think he would ever do that.
Sure.
But I think that through incompetence,
sure,
they let this happen.
Well,
and
obviously, but also obviously because he got killed from allegedly from a roof that was unsecured, despite being told that it was secured. The defense that people always say when they say, "Well, we're not attacking Erica Kirk," typically it's the wife that gets investigated. Even if that's the case, at some point you abandon it when there's no evidence of some sort of text message to hire a hitman.
If they didn't investigate her, moron, there's not going to be evidence to show that. If they gave her back the necklace, his phone, remaining clothes, they auctioned off the car, after 2 hours of looking into it, they didn't collect enough evidence. They didn't look down any other angle. FBI shut down the investigation into foreign ties. They were singularly focused. They had tunnel vision on lone gunmen, radicalized online, trans, furry, gay, leftist. Yeah, didn't like Charlie for his Orthodox Christian values. And then they're going to work to find all evidence that supports that case or that, that narrative, and anything else they toss out. This is just a fact. This is how they always do it. That's why, I would say, even though it's not part of official statistics, more of these cases like this are all like this. We just never know. We just don't know about them. But the majority of them, it's ran by, the more I've investigated all of the different trials that I've ever gotten interested in, they're all like this. All the cops do this, in my opinion, when they're investigating major homicides like this.
Insurance policies, beneficiary. At some point, you abandon that, especially after it's been investigated. But you're right. Nobody trusts the FBI.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger picture here, right?
We've lost all faith in the establishment.
No, the same FBI that told us that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself and there was a video evidence to prove it is now telling us we've investigated everybody on the Discord chats. Sure. We've investigated Erica Kirk.
Lance Twiggs has immunity.
But, partial use immunity, not full immunity. He can still be prosecuted. But it's true. But the difference between distrusting an institution and reflexively believing the exact opposite are two very different things. I don't believe something because the FBI says it. I'll be very skeptical if the FBI says it because they've proven that, unfortunately, they've said things that are proven not to be true. But to go from there to say...
But Josh Carr does. Josh Carr believes them. And so does Gary. Gary believes him. He's biting his tongue over there. Can't believe you're saying this, Viva. You're shocking him out of his little troll shoes. Okay? He's got his little gnome cap tucked in the back of his back pocket. It's about to, hop out because you can't say those. You're on the wrong side, Viva. Did you not get the talking points? Shh, sit down, be quiet. You're ruining it. You're going off script, Viva.
I'm going to reflexively believe the exact opposite of what the FBI says. That's just as stupid as blindly accepting everything they say. And we've gone past the point of just asking questions. It's making baseless accusations, putting out unsubstantiated hypotheses, and then, it's very curious, the second you question the people who are just asking questions, you get called a Zionist. Yeah. And so it's a very...
Viva, let me ask you this question. This is one thing that I've been wrestling in my mind because I've been spending so many hours on it. And Gary, you can answer, but I'd rather get Viva because he's an attorney. If you shoot into a crowd of 3,000 people, I would think that would be a federal crime. If Tyler Robinson drove from California to Utah and did it, it would automatically be a federal crime. But I'm kind of happy that it's a state crime because we have cameras in the courtroom. But I do find it's weird that this is basically a terrorist attack and they're still prosecuting at the state level. Why are they not prosecuting this at the federal level?
I couldn't venture an answer to that question and why there haven't been other federal investigations into this, especially if there were terrorist elements to it. And that's
considering his relationship with Donald Trump as well.
No, but I've long said, this was a preemptive presidential assassination. And I believe it's clear terrorism. I believe
this is a terror attack.
There were clearly more people involved than just Tyler Robinson, to the extent that it's proven that he was the one who pulled the trigger.
But do you guys see how uncomfortable Gary gets when Viva's talking? He is so uncomfortable that Viva is saying some of the things he's saying right now.
This is where I've been saying for a long time, asking legitimate questions versus turning this into a spectacle where Pizzagate was a real thing. People were actually investigating meaningful, what the hell are they talking about in those text messages? And then you whip up conspiracy theories. So you get one guy to show up to Comet Pizza with a gun. And
Jack Posobiec did that. And
then lo and behold, you can no longer even have a meaningful discussion about the actual issues. And so, yes, Charlie would have wanted people to investigate his own murder, not turn it into a years-long mini-series, a true crime extravaganza, not make it more difficult.
Not even true crime, unsubstantiated fact. Not even unsubstantiated fact, unsubstantiated allegations.
Who is
That's
this
the thing
guy?
that bothers me the most. Is
who selects these people? Brick Suit? I'm going to look into you. Who is this guy?
The public is so hungry for this, and maybe this is a reflection of how much people cared for Charlie. They really. This is not just someone who was killed.
Correct.
And you have some sort of human empathy towards him. This is someone that people really cared about, and there's a deep feeling of attachment to him, and also a tremendous feeling that what happened was just so blatantly wrong, so unjust, for just speaking his mind on on campus.
I think there's more to it
urging
than that.
dialogue.
I think there's more to it than he was
Well,
just
look at what
speaking his
happened
mind.
Correct.
So what I'm getting at here is the hunger that the public has that has supported this commercialization of questioning.
I'm going to reach out to Alex Stein. I'm going to see if he'll come on the show because I want to know what he actually says. He seems to hold a lot more of the opinions and beliefs that we do than anyone I've ever heard, even voice from his side. I don't know how he has a channel, he has a show on TPUSA's Real America's Voice. It's the late night show, and he's kind of like a contractor and everything like that. Nonetheless, he's still saying things that all of us are saying. He hasn't gone all the way yet, but man, I want to understand what is up with Alex Stein. So I don't know. Blake Marnell it said his name was Brick Suit. Is that the same guy, Blake Marnell? He was known for wearing a suit called the Brick Suit. Yeah, when Donald Trump noticed him in the crowd at a rally in Pennsylvania and then invited him on stage. Okay, so he's nobody, and he got famous for wearing a suit. Oh, he's got a brick tie on. Yep, that's the guy. Great.
The narrative is feeding a monster, and people have profited off that. And I think, the amount of money that's been made off of it is totally out of proportion.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Totally out of proportion.
How about $500 million, Gary? How about probably now $900 million earned by Erica Kirk and TPUSA? Oh no, but the evil Candace. Oh, I can't believe she's making money for doing her job that she was already doing before Charlie was assassinated. Oh, what an evil woman.
The value of anything that they
spent
produce
on these arguments is also not to be disregarded too.
Yeah.
And can I just bring it back to the fundamentals for 1 second
Please.
and bring down the temperature because you all seem kind of angry about it.
I'm
very angry about it.
I'm sad too, and I'm not going to be defensive about saying that the onus is entirely on
Buckley.
the authorities that we pay for, the entire law enforcement system that we tolerate at the expense of our freedoms. And then they give us a narrative that just is full of anomalies, full of questions. They don't bother satisfying any of them. They're the ones that, as you indicated, they create this distrust. And then people are mad.
There's never a trial in which all the evidence is released to the public before the trial.
Yet people have maintained they were. I mean, you were definitely not mentioning that a lot of people have said, quote, there was 4K video of this guy taking a shot. You can see the pores on his face. I watched several
that's
people.
a mischaracterization of actually what was said.
No, that's not. Bro, I played it on my show. This Gary Melton, I can't believe people take him seriously. Even if just this one comment alone, that's exactly what Jack Posobiec, okay, Graham Allen, okay, Benny Johnson, Brandon Tatum, okay, then Andrew Colvett and Blake Neff both uttered the same things on their show. It's exactly what they said.
No,
Jack
I saw three separate press
I'm
conferences.
friends with Jack, so I'm not even calling them out, but that was weird.
There you go.
The footage of him walking up the stairs.
I want Alex Stein. Alex, I want you on the show. I want to interview you. I want to hear what you actually think. You seem much more level-headed, and I want to talk to you because he's like, Jack said it. Jack did say it. Jack said it loud and clear, and so did everyone else I named. Let me get these up real quick. I actually want to get these as we go along. It's a total deflection blaming Candace. Yep, at all. For dividing the right. Trump and the Zionist neocons are the ones doing the dividing. Another op. 100%. I said that from the beginning. It's the fact that Trump him and his administration ran on all these promises, and they've all been broken. That was the beginning of the tear. And the tear began before Charlie was murdered because he was talking out about it. And it got so bad that Trump had to call Charlie and tell him to stop talking about Jeffy Epi. And, Charlie wasn't going to back down talking about October 7th, about Israel, about the war in Iran, like all of these things. The divide in MAGA, in America First, had already began long before Charlie was murdered. But then once he was murdered, it got ramped up and they just started shoving it in our faces. And it became so apparent that it just like a fault line, it just ripped it apart, like just violently. And then TPUSA and all of the official news medias and then all of these talking heads came out and they're holding up the official story, defending it and defending TPUSA and defending Trump and defending Bibi. And we're like, what are you guys talking about? That's what did it. Candace didn't do it at all. Alex Stein is one of those who doesn't follow the case closely. They just get sound bites and vague analysis. They think it's another passing phase. Yeah, he seems to not hold a lot of the official positions, though. As per your question last night, yes, Straka is openly gay. Okay, I thought so. He did time for January 6th. That's interesting. So him and what's his name? I watch him. He like bleached his hair long. Not Owen Benjamin. That's the other weird. It's escaping me right now. He's got a Rumble channel. He did time on January 6th, and yet he sold out to the machine, just like POS John McCain. I agree with that for sure. So Brick Suit was on the payroll the whole time. Yes. I pray Buckley keep them in their place. He's going to. Let's go.
Inside the facility, walking up the stairs.
Not the shot.
He
said
never talked about actual rooftop forklift.
But
he
said
said,
they
no,
did.
yes, he did. He said, I saw him take the shot. I saw what time it was.
He did say that I saw him take the shot, and
it lined up with the time.
So, like, what he say? Because let's be real. Before we went into this, everybody was saying in the conspiracy side that footage didn't even exist, or they would have showed us that at the very beginning.
That's true.
And that footage did exist.
No, it doesn't.
Which, by the way, also the footage at the Washington County Sheriff's Department that they said didn't exist also existed.
No, it doesn't.
But the point here is like, from my perspective, if I'm like, okay, I know a shot occurred. We have cameras on the ground. We see this person at the right time, at the right place, get in position. Like, I don't see a GoPro in his face pulling the trigger. But my God, like, how many more? You talk about coincidences. Like, how many more coincidences do you?
I will say this.
Oh
Gary,
my gosh.
The entire camp.
Hold on one second. So notice what he did there, right? So he stole the attention away from the fact that Jack and all of those freaking, buttheads clearly lied. They clearly lied. Buckley isn't as confident as I wish he could have been, because like I played it all. If I was up there, I could say verbatim what they said, what they all said on their different shows and what they said together. And then how they started to walk that back immediately. And then eventually they landed on, well, what it shows is that you can see him climb up, and then he goes over, and then he lays down, and then you can match it up with the time. And that's when we know the shot took place. And so it's deductive reasoning. It's obvious that that's when he took the shot. Right. But then other people continue to double down on the fact like, oh, you can see recoil. Oh, you could see a muzzle flash. You could see him pull the trigger. You can clearly see it's Tyler Robinson. No, you can't. They lied. Thank God we had people in there that were saying, no, that's not at all what it showed. And they have yet to show it. They haven't all of the video evidence that they said exists. We've never seen. Oh, don't worry. It's coming in the trial. Oh, don't worry. They have it. How does Gary know? Gary said on an X space that he was either shown or was told by someone who's seen it, the prosecution, that there's another angle of the Losi Center roof, a different surveillance camera that has a higher quality resolution where you can positively ID Tyler Robinson. What a scumbag. He's engaged in all of the same exact things that we're talking about right here about Jack and all of them. He's a liar.
This is saturated, as everywhere else in America at the moment is saturated with cameras. High quality cameras.
Yep.
Sure.
And you're saying they've got pictures of this guy who may or may not be, is wearing the same clothes, looks like Tyler.
Yeah.
But they have no clear image.
Oh,
of his
they do.
face.
As a matter of fact, Lance Twiggs in the deposition actually said, yes, that looks definitely like him. In the last
based on
no,
what
he
he's
did.
saying.
But no, he said that definitely looks like him. The last two definitely look like him. Why are you acting like that's some sort of slam dunk? Do you not know the difference between, yes, that's him, 100%? That's how identification works, right? People look at photos and go, yep, that's him. Yep, that's him. And he goes, yeah, that definitely looks like him. And then he gets kicked under the table by the prosecution. And he goes, oh, yeah, looks like Tyler Robinson. Give me a
relying upon Lance
based on what he is saying, right? Like, which I know, I get it.
Sure, but
These are issues for trial. Let's just take for granted.
there's
Take for
300
granted
cases.
take for granted- hold on a second, just take for granted what you said about Jack Posobiec overselling what he saw.
I didn't actually specify him, although he was one.
No,
but there
it
were
was
several
Jack,
others.
there was
Benny Johnson.
Jack.
But so, just operate on. It's true. They oversold it. Jack Posobiec knew Charlie Kirk. Let's just say he wants to believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the shot. So from that
Shut
video, he
up.
comes out and says, I saw it on the video.
He gave a 12-minute press conference outside the hearing.
He
And said, I saw it in incredible 4K detail.
No, when he mentioned
Crystal
4K,
clear detail that lines up
when he
with the
mentioned 4K
timeline.
was specific.
He
to
most
the,
certainly did.
it was
Yes, he
specific
did.
to the
I've seen
footage
the
inside-
footage.
It was specific to the footage inside the Losi bit.
Right, the footage that they were privy to.
Operate on the basis that he did not accurately describe it. First reason, the video wasn't made public at the request of the defense, not at the request of the
I'm aware of
prosecution.
that.
Okay. Second thing,
So?
so he misdescribed it. Move on.
Yeah, but
What?
this is
No,
what's
I
frustrating.
don't
Real quick,
know.
I want to make
This
this
is
point.
one-
This is what's frustrating because
Hold up. Why is it every single time we catch them in lying, we catch them. They all but just admitted it, right? But he's like downplaying it. So what? He was friends with Charlie Kirk. Can you blame him? Let's say that he 100% believes that it's Tyler Robinson. Here's the thing. No, let's not say that, because there's no way anyone with a freaking brain actually honestly believes that. Okay. They're either A, completely immoral. They have no ethics. They're liars. They're grifters, and they're getting paid. They've been threatened. There's something. I'm sorry. There is nothing that we've seen that could make anyone get up in front of a camera and be confident and say, that is Tyler Robinson. There's nothing. And so, no, I'm not going to be charitable with Jack Posobiec and say, like, let's just take it that he just really, really, cares about Charlie, was friends with Charlie, and he just wants to make sure that this person gets charged for his murder. Well, no, if he's his friend, he doesn't want someone just to be charged with it and convicted. He wants the right person. It's not about just getting this over with, which Erica Kirk wants, and just hurry up. I want a speedy trial. It's not about that. And that's the issue with all of them, including Erica, but everyone at TPUSA. If they were really friends, if she really loved him, it shouldn't matter how long this takes. The only thing that should matter is that they get the right person. That's it. And if it doesn't look like this is the right person, then they should be sounding the alarm. They should be using their platforms, using their influence and voice to tell everyone that this is not right. They don't support it. Okay. And anyone doing the opposite of that clearly didn't love Charlie, doesn't love Charlie, wasn't his friend, and isn't truly his grieving widow. Okay. Because it's not about speed. It's not about hurry up and let's just get this charged, convicted, and move on. It's about getting the right person. That's the only way to get justice for Charlie, to get the actual killers, everyone involved. All of them need to be charged, convicted, and dealt with accordingly. That is the only way to honor Charlie. And anyone else saying the contrary is a liar. Viva using fancy lawyer speak to hide the BB7K. Yeah, he's so little it's falling out of his back pocket. Gary low IQs, switzing bullets. Yes. Love you guys. Hi, Zamek. Good to see you.
I believe most of the official narrative, but then I see January 6th. Brandon was a victim of that. There was agent provocateurs there. There was FBI agents dressed like they were MAGA supporters, encouraging people to go into the Capitol building and ruining people's lives. So the idea that there could be somebody that's dressed like Tyler Robinson, and then they're just scaling a roof, jumping off the 12th floor. I'm just saying, when you look at it, this is why, yes, has Candace gone too far? Baron Coleman maybe gone too far, but a lot of this is weird. The guy's jumping off a 12-foot roof. I wouldn't just be able to jump off a 12-foot roof.
I was doing that, not with a rifle, with much like that.
I was doing that as a kid. When I was 2 feet tall, because I'm a little leprechaun, and to get my little lucky charms underneath of my gold underneath the rainbow, I had to jump off a 12-foot roof. Yeah, I scaled it. I did a backflip. Gary, we don't care about your stupid anecdotes. No one cares what you could or couldn't do when you were freaking 2 years old, okay? You're a liar. Anything that comes out of your mouth is a lie. You sit on a throne of lies. Shut your little lying mouth.
It's not even that. I mean, clearly somebody did it.
Yeah,
clearly
we saw that. We've seen that.
Clearly that person is not looking like an athlete. That person looks like a very skinny person. It looks, by the way, just happens to look like the same exact stature and build of Tyler Robinson.
Is there a way that we could compute though and see his height
You
though?
can say that on those fuzzy frames. I couldn't make that.
Yeah,
I'm not even saying this
First of all,
to
the footage that Candace showed And
I
the
know, it
footage
was
and the
taken
footage
from a
that is
video.
actually released by the FBI, those are two, like, this is a video of a video, and like the like, that is to say, like, oh, this is what Jack Posobiec saw. That's an oversell. That is
But we all saw the video that the
And it wasn't
FBI
just
released
being
the
on
day after.
Candace's podcast.
Well, we
we
didn't
had the
see
freedom
the same
of
quality
information
video.
share that was
I
on
know,
X.
but
This is
it is
even
clearly
before
a
an
very
episode.
small person.
Okay, but the video has been degraded intentionally.
But couldn't we measure?
Why would that video not be enhanced? If
but
if
that
the
heightened
aim was
information
clarity,
commercial.
if the aim was to identify someone specifically,
Here's what I've been saying.
is that not a reasonable point?
No, I think that's
It's
a
a
very
reasonable-
good point. I
it's a
do agree.
Brandon, can you do your job? What are you doing right now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The only person not talking right now is Brandon Straka and Harrison Smith. Brandon, do your job. Can you moderate this? Okay. What are you doing?
Do
Reasonable
agree with
point.
you.
I grant you that.
But it goes back to,
I've
like-
been told that we have actually 5 different views of that rooftop footage. That's
Oh.
what I've been told. Somebody
Wow.
close to the investigation. Now,
Who is close to the investigation talking directly to Gary? Okay. This is what I'm talking about. He's a liar. So he called me a POS and said that I got added to a list and that he was going to deal with me accordingly because on an X space that he was in control of, I don't have the recording for that. He said he was shown. Okay, that's my recollection. Other people that were there also said that they heard him say the same thing. Then when I posted my video, a short clip of me saying that's what he said, he like attacks me and he goes, I never said that I was shown. Okay, so what did you say then, Gary? You were told by someone in or close to the investigation that there's other surveillance videos that aren't in evidence, that nobody has seen, that supposedly show definitively Tyler Robinson on the Losi Center at the 12:23, 28-second mark. You're tainting the jury. You're tainting this trial and the case against Tyler Robinson, his presumption of innocence. Nobody has seen that. It's not been admitted into evidence. How and who is telling you and why? And why are you out here talking about it when no one has seen it? With the trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Nobody trusts you, bro.
who knows if that ends up being true? That's hearsay. That I don't even talk about. I've had that information for a really long time. But the point is like we know we have around 300 terabytes of data. This was a preliminary hearing. They could have went with a quarter of the evidence and the charges would have carried over. That's a fact.
But it's a preliminary hearing, the purpose of which is to demonstrate that they have a case to put this guy in prison.
It's not
probable cause.
It's not even that threshold. Dave, go for it.
Yes, thank you. I'm also a lawyer. And the thing is, when you get to the point where you're getting at, right, we had one evidentiary hearing that determined probable cause, right, that the case can proceed. And everything we're arguing about right now, we didn't even have before that. Right now, we have even more than we had before. All of the arguments that are being made, and I'll talk about Candace in about 5 seconds. All the arguments that are being made are based on the lack of evidence, right? So we're filling in the gray area that we don't know with conspiracy, and there's a reason for that. And like I said, I'll get to that in a second.
All there is a lack of evidence. That's the problem, Pollack. All there is a lack of evidence. There is no good evidence. All of it lacks everything. There's nothing you can point to or anyone that can act. They have to lie when they do it. Just like that Josh Carr kid did. Oh, yeah, I can tell that's Tyler Robinson. Oh, I can tell that he has a rifle. No, you can't. All of these people have to misrepresent and try to make you doubt your brain and your eyes. Like you didn't see what they saw, that they saw something else. You just have a really bad set of eyes and a really bad brain. None of the evidence is what they make it out to be. It's all lacking.
But the fact is, they're not going to release every single bit of evidence to the public before this trial goes on. They have to pick a jury. And so what the last thing a prosecutor wants to do is say, hey, I have an idea. Let's convince all of the public that this guy is guilty by releasing everything. And they can't even have a trial. So the idea that, and look, and I will say this, and I'll say it right now, it's recorded.
They weren't looking for compelling evidence to show the judge. Their most compelling evidence
they're not releasing
on that
to the
day.
public. We don't know what they have. That
no, in that courtroom at that evidentiary,
they're only showing enough to determine probable cause.
It's not the most compelling
only enough to just show probable cause. And so there's still discovery that has to happen. There's other evidence that you're still considering. At the end of the day, we don't have the evidence that the prosecutor has, that even the defense team has, that even the judge has seen. There's hearings that are happening outside of the cameras where they might have seen some of this stuff. They're not going to give it all to the public. And I'm not saying that maybe we'll go to the trial. Maybe you'll watch it. It'll be like OJ. It'll be like, well, the glove's not fitting. And then we can continue the conspiracy conversation. I think that's valid. But to determine that since we, the public, don't have the information, therefore every other probable reason why Charlie was killed, well, that's the truth then. And they
want us to wait. They want you to sit on your hands, do nothing, say nothing, and just wait. Just wait. By that time, it'll be too late. Okay. They want to make so much headway on all of this that we'll be so far behind, we'll be unable to catch up to them. They want you to trust them. It's coming in trial, and just trust them and wait. Everyone shut up. Everyone sit down. Everyone do nothing. Don't hypothesize. Don't speculate. Don't ask questions. Don't investigate. Don't work together. Don't communicate. Just sit down and shut up. I don't. Yeah, in this day and age, after COVID, after 9/11, after everything, how could that be any American suggestion to other Americans at this point when it comes to the government?
Think that we're taking too free of a liberty to use our imaginations into what may have happened in lack of the evidence of what actually happened. And then let me pivot for 1 second. I'll turn it back over. The thing with Candace is, and I don't know what her intent is. I don't know what's in her mind. I don't know if it's displaced grief. I don't know if it's anger. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter.
Could be genuine concern.
It could be genuine concern.
It could be,
I don't know her personally, so I don't know what her mind is, and I'm not trying to know. But I do know this. Charlie Kirk, the reason why he was a target, whether it was the one shooter or whether it was another country, was because of how effective he was motivating young people. And if we look at who's targeting young people today, it's the left, it's the communists,
and it's the state of Israel.
It's just, I don't know that to be
true.
100%.
But they've taken a lot of public. Charlie was against the Iran war.
That is a fact. But either way, can we agree that young
Americans about?
Can we agree though that young people are being used for political purposes and their hearts and minds? And Charlie was very effective at getting young people for our movement. And 100%. So in the wake of that, his death has been exploited to impact young people in a way that damages everything Charlie built and also damages our movement. Because
correct. By TPUSA, this administration, mainstream news, and everyone working together on behalf of Israel. Correct.
There's a lot of division amongst us. I mean, there's conservative against
the movement's dead, David.
The movement is not dead.
The movement is in college campuses. I go to speak at these colleges. No, listen, and I'm not even saying this to be a downer. I'm saying, and I really respect Erica, but she cannot do what Charlie did. Charlie was such a leader, right. And this is a JP Sears thing, and I'm not even trying to bring him up because I don't agree with how he's attacked her, but it would be the same as Dak Prescott for the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys getting hurt. You couldn't put in Dak Prescott's wife to run the Cowboys.
Oh no, nobody's arguing that.
Charlie was so unique. So yes, there's a young youth movement, but now all these kids are now, half of them are on. I go to these campuses, half of them are on Candace's side, half of them.
But that's my point.
But so we're so divided. But this was done on purpose to divide.
Correct. Who did it on purpose, though?
I don't know, but I'm saying the movement is the movement. We won the culture war when Charlie was doing that tour, and he had 3,000 people there because it was 4 years ago when Charlie had 100 people there. You know, it was a small. All of a sudden, now he's like the Rolling Stones when he's on it. You know, he's the biggest thing ever. We had the culture war won, trans agenda, whatever agenda, we had it won. And then when I just see my touching and feeling, now the culture war, we're back to zero.
Well, this needs to be clipped. That whole speech. Do you guys have any idea how powerful what Alex Stein just said is? Let me go back just to where it's just him. Hold on. Obviously, I think a lot of us have already known this, and we know this. It's not the left. Who's behind the far left? Who's behind the far right? Because Charlie wasn't far right, right? You even heard, who was it? Alex Stein said it, that a lot of people felt he wasn't far right enough. We saw the text that Brett Weinstein let out a while ago, but Zach Costello just showed it again on his show. Charlie was against Israel, period, end of story. He had come to understand that Israel was so much bigger threat than anything else. Yes, the left is our threat from within, but Israel is our threat from without. And that they had the ability to get us entangled in wars, to get real men and women who are service members murdered, killed in a war in a foreign country for a foreign country. Okay. Going back to what Alex Stein just said, and I'm about to replay it. Charlie Kirk had won it. Bibi wanted him to help him restore that for Israel. This is not disconnected. These things are connected. Charlie had won the culture war, and Bibi wanted him to use that for Israel because Charlie and his movement, the kids that were following him, had all turned on it, all turned on Israel. The left did not have a motive to kill Charlie like Israel and those in power had. Charlie posed a significant risk now and for the rest of his life. To be president multiple times, Charlie could have ruined everything. And I think he would have. And they knew that. And they said, we have to take him out now, before he says or does anything else and makes this worse. I'm going to play it in a second. Let me read this real quick. We have Granny Loves Jesus. TH. The heck? I think these girly nen drive me nuts, except Buck. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the, to Gary. So incredibly frustrating to watch. Oh, middle finger to Gary. Yeah. In defense of Candace, she'd be sipping margaritas off the coast of Bermuda if the FBI were doing their... In defense of Candace Owens, she'd be sipping margaritas off the coast of Bermuda if the FBI were doing their job. Oh, she'd be on vacation. She wouldn't have to be doing the job of the FBI. Yeah, I agree. Let's hear Alex Stein uninterrupted. Wait, hold on. Just one more came in. What was that? Doing their job. Yeah. The donors finance the left. Correct. Charlie said that. The donors finance the left and the right. Charlie was uniting the youth. Mic drop. Bye. Have a great night. Yes, 100%. If that's, there's no bigger threat. There's no bigger threat that posed an imminent threat now and an imminent threat for as long as Charlie's alive.
Movement is the movement. We won the culture war. When Charlie was doing that tour and he had 3,000 people there, because it was 4 years ago when Charlie had 100 people there. You know, it was a small, all of a sudden now he's like the Rolling Stones when he's on it. You know, he's the biggest thing ever. We had the culture war won, trans agenda, whatever agenda, we had it won. And then when I just see my touching and feeling, now the culture war, we're back to zero.
Well, I do feel we are absolutely back to zero. But let's talk about what we actually have seen though. Like outside of what podcaster, whomever is arguing this, that, whatever, like the things that we know, we're talking about, do we have trust in our institutions to actually do the right thing, to provide proper evidence? We already have established that there's been a mischaracterization on what influencers are saying, what being privy to certain types of information. Okay, but what have we all seen as a collective? We saw the footage that was circulating on X and we said, okay, it's very grainy. That's known. We all agree that it's grainy. If there's more footage that we're not privy to, okay. If there's a way to make it less degraded, that would be excellent. That's to be unforeseen right now. We do also have some text messages, right? I just, as a viewer of seeing the text messages and having my mind of freedom of thought, I found them to be very odd.
Yes.
I found them to be very odd. So I think that's also a fair conversation to have too, is like, okay, based on what we've been given so far, and we can talk about the institution and what we expect out of it and hope and pray for. So for what we've actually seen so far, we talk about the footage, we talk about the
given, but and I'm not disagreeing with what
I'm saying. What we've seen.
She's saying that all the evidence that has been presented, all of it sucks. His argument, like all of their argument, is like, oh, but no murder has perfect 4K footage. Okay, that's not what we're asking. We're asking for one piece of evidence that doesn't suck. Can we just have one piece of evidence that doesn't look suspicious, like where it came from, how they got it, chain of custody, what the analysis results show or don't show, the source of which is received the evidence or given the evidence, the text messages, the Discord chat, the written note, the burn note, lance twigs, the gun, the rifle, the screwdriver, the videos, all of it, the testimony, the confessions, all of it, none of it, the DNA, the ballistics, how Charlie was murdered, what it looks like in the video, what we see, the necklace, the shirt, the wound, the lack of exit wound, all of it, the autopsy, none of it None of it makes sense. And they want to gaslight all of us as if we're crazy and evil for noticing that this clearly is a botched op gone wrong. And they're trying to salvage it. And they're doing that by attacking Candace, by attacking Tucker, and attacking all of us and saying that you're insane. Don't trust your mind. Don't trust your brain. They did that with COVID. Nope. Trust the experts. Trust us. Oh, more's going to come out. Just be patient. Go sit on your hands, twiddle your thumbs, shut up and be a good slave. Okay? Stop. Go vote. Shut up and go vote. Sit down now. Say nothing now. But then when I tell you, go vote. Who do you vote for? Oh, I'll tell you who to vote for. That's what you could do. You can sit down, shut up, and then go vote for who I tell you to vote for. Support the war. Go have your kids sign up to go die in a foreign country in a foreign land for a foreign country. Shut up.
Online.
What entitlement does the general public have to the evidence that's going to be presented at trial for a jury?
Then why are there so many people who've convicted Tyler Robinson so aggressively in public? They've said, we've got the killer, he's guilty.
Well, and that's a fair point.
But
everybody
like said it,
doesn't
immediately
question
moments
after. Well, I just want to make this point. I said it earlier, but
Discord message said it was me. He kind of admitted it.
Yeah, but that's odd. I mean,
there's a weird timeline to this. I just want to say this, and I was not there, but I've talked to multiple people. Gary just said it too, and there was a gunshot. I know this. I've talked to people that would not lie to me.
Loud noise.
Nope.
I mean, there was a loud noise.
So not only was there a gunshot,
I just know that. I know there was. I don't know anything. I don't know who shot the gun, but I know there was a gunshot. I've talked to somebody that would not lie about that. A person that I trust.
John Bray had done audio.
John Bray doesn't know his ass from the hole in the ground.
But see,
like
actually, I don't think that's fair to say.
No, it is like so. I've actually had Matt Tardio on, who is literally a
Matt Tardio literally doesn't know his butt from a hole in the ground. What are you talking about? Yeah, we know you had Viva Frei on. You've had Matt Tardio on. Matt Tardio, Viva, and now Andrew Wilson. All of you guys go on each other's shows. You platform each other. TPUSA uses you on their show. You're all just talking heads that seem to be paid and owned by this administration, by Israel, and by one another. We don't trust anything that you guys are saying. Let me read a couple super chats real quick. Where's the Tylenol? I'm just kidding. From the Christmas vacation, he goes on that rant and he's like, "Holy, where's the Tylenol?" Job. What was that a correction of? Oh, do their job. The FBI. Yeah, if the FBI was doing their job, Candace could be on vacation. I agree. Matt, please count how many times Viva and Co. Day, but Candace bad. Okay, Matt, please count how many times Viva and Company day, but Candace bad. You mean say something and then Candace bad? Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, so how many times Viva and Co. say ... but Candace bad? Okay, yeah, I got it. I got my checklist. I'm going to start checking it right now. This isn't 1963 and Charlie Kirk won't get that cover up. Nope, we're not letting it happen.
Not only a ballistics expert, former Green Beret, he's literally an explosives expert. We went through everything that John Bray did. What he is doing is pure fantasy. It is speculation upon speculation mixed with some sci-fi nonsense that, by the way, completely defies physics.
On TPUSA, and I saw an interview with John Bray. John Bray was so much more articulate, so much more in command.
I mean,
so much more convincing. Matt Tardio was not convincing at all to me. I'm not a ballistics expert, and I don't need to be. I really applaud you for having this series, but I actually push back respectfully and say, in this case, it's not fair to call it like a conspiracy theory deal. I think of this as basic truth.
Yep. Let's go, Buckley.
Simple deduction. Like, this does not feel or smell right.
Nope.
This story about what happened to Charlie. We haven't even talked about all the foreknowledge.
Nope.
We've got famous
George
Harrison
Zinn.
Smith.
There's a lot of weird stuff too.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of people predicting that Charlie was going to be killed. There are all sorts of elements and weird anomalies on the day that he was killed. Pardon?
Well, Charlie would.
Well, there are lots of people online who are predicting that.
Charlie wouldn't have spent millions of dollars in security if he didn't think there was a threat on his life.
Yeah. I'm making a point. Yes, there were people who posted in advance with
an hour talking about all the weird anomalies that were surrounding this. I mean,
I think you can find anonymous. Just like I went through this whole thing with Butler too, and like I was lambasted after I went and talked to people at Butler. I went and actually did a 3D.
Are you satisfied with the information you got with Butler? Gary, I'm real quick. I'm not even meaning to cut you off. I know you're talking about Butler, but are you satisfied with the information in the official story?
I think there was a conspiracy to cover up, and I think there was definitely much more involved with Thomas Crooks, and I think that he was actually radicalized and weaponized. And I think very possibly, and I've talked about this, I went and did a whole interview with Chase Hughes about psychological manipulation and basically brainwashing. And I think that possibly the same thing. But going back, like, here's the responsible thing, like people like Candace Owens and people with a large microphone and audience should be doing.
There we go.
Like,
so there's
let's address this responsibly. Number one, let's not omit information, which I've caught her doing.
Wait, how many tallies do you think I should put on right now to make up for the last 31 minutes? I don't know, should at least 15 tallies. We'll start at 15. All right, to catch up, because I just started making the tallies right now.
Called her out right line multiple times, but it's like, hey folks, this is how investigations are ran, and it's okay to speculate. But by the way, I don't start throwing people under the bus for the murder, and I don't start accusing people of child sex trafficking without any evidence.
We did.
So like now we start looking into malice, and then we start talking about Brian Harpole, which is going to win his lawsuit against Candace Owens.
Okay.
Had multiple lawyers on with that. But it's like, hey, here's the responsible thing to do.
What lawsuit is
Brian Harpole has said some things that are just pure fantasy.
Yes, he has. So let me read this real quick. We had clear footage in 1963 referencing the JFK assassination and the Zapruder film than we do with the Losi Center rooftop surveillance footage in 2025. 100%. I don't know why I couldn't say Zapruder. Gary, look at Holyfield's ear. Look at Trump's, right? Yeah, I know. All right, let's continue.
He really shot himself in the foot with the
Gabby, I want to just make one point, and I mean this with all due respect, and as soon as you say that means you're going to say something totally disrespectful. And I know we've gone after Candace. She's trying to monetize this, and I mean this with all due respect. You're monetizing Charlie Kirk's death. You're talking about it, defending him, but you're monetizing his death too. And I mean that.
I am not. Oh my gosh. Hold up. How can he say he's not monetizing Charlie Kirk's death? Let's get into it real quick. Let's go to Paramount freaking not tactical whatsoever. Okay. Here we go. This is a monetized channel. He has 286,000 subscribers. He didn't have that before. This whole channel is fully monetized. He's actually live right now. What a tool. The left plus the woke right working together to destroy Charlie Kirk's legacy. Let's see. Hold on.
You mentioned legislative means of addressing it.
No, you have to.
That settles it for me. That's fine.
Hold on. You guys, I think they all. Oh, no, he's got super chats right there. Yeah, you're monetized, buddy. What are you talking about? You're making money off this. Okay. You're monetized. You're not making as much as Candace. That's what you guys are really jealous about, is that you suck. You suck at this. Let's go to his ex. Let's go to Paramount. Oh, yeah, you can subscribe. So you can pay. You can pay to be part of his channel. Yep. Not to mention he's fully monetized on X as well. You are making money off of this, liar.
I mean that with respect. I'm just saying you're talking about it. There's a reason why Tucker, his brother, has not really talked about it. There's a reason why I personally don't talk about it. And I'm not trying to clout chase and talk about it because I want to let all of the evidence come out before I make an opinion. And no offense to you, but Candace has done it to a bigger degree than you, but you've monetized Charlie.
No, I actually have lost significant amount of money doing this in multiple different ways. I could talk to you offline.
Perspective is different.
The reason that I'm doing this,
and you have too, Viva. You've talked about it. You've benefited. You've talked. I'm saying real quick, and I mean this all due respect. You've talked about Charlie Kirk. You've gotten thousands of viewers talking about it.
So you're saying correcting someone who's spreading disinformation, I am somehow guilty of something in this?
No, what I'm saying is
you're doing the same thing. How are they so ignorant to not see this, right? Okay, so she's talking about a different thing, but she's on YouTube like all of you are. You guys have a channel. You're monetized, and you're weighing in on the Charlie Kirk assassination and the Tyler Robinson investigation. Yes, your angle, your what side you're on is different, but how is what you're doing different? It's not. And the fact that you guys argue that it is different and that you're not making money off of the Charlie Kirk assassination, and your argument is that you lost subscribers and you lost viewers, that's not because by you trying to lose it. It's because the side that you're on sucks and you suck. Oh, this from now on will be known as the Candace Commission, right? It's high time we start playing a drinking game based on every time they say Candace. I don't drink. I've been sober since 2018. I can condone drinking water, soda, electrolytes, energy drink, but check your heart. Make sure your heart's okay. I definitely don't want anyone playing a drinking game here, but you could do it. Do what you're going to do on your own. You're all adults, but definitely we could play a game of some sort where something happens every time they attack Candace or say something about Candace or say her name.
You're doing the same thing as her. We're saying, she's monetizing.
Correcting the disinformation is not the
if we're going to be
intellectually
honest.
Disinformation.
No, but it's a completely different scale.
Alex,
It is a different scale. I'm not trying to go after you. I'm saying.
I don't think you are. Just listen.
Yeah.
Covering the preliminary hearing is different than someone coming out and saying this is a show trial.
No.
So when someone is correcting disinformation, to then accuse them of monetizing the fact
she's correct in her mind, and I agree with her. She's correcting disinformation, idiot. Do you not see that? It's exactly the same. You're just framing it different. She's coming out to correct the disinformation coming out of the government, coming out of the FBI, coming out of Utah, the Utah County's Attorney's Office, coming from this trial, coming from all of you, coming from TPUSA. She's correcting it. Gosh, bro.
that they have to go and say, no, Candace, this is a preliminary hearing, not a trial. Not making any money off this, not making any followers off it, just taking shit and being called a Zionist all the time.
That's their argument. We're not making any money. We're not making any followers. Sorry, you suck and nobody trusts you and nobody wants to hear what you have to say except for your low IQ, ignorant followers. But you are still monetized and you for sure are still trying to make money off of this. Gosh, just be honest.
Don't accuse the people who are out there correcting the disinformation of profiting off of it, because had it not been for the disinformation, we'd be sitting here waiting for the trial and maybe exploring mean.
You are the disinformation, Viva. You are. You and Gary, you and Andrew Colvett, you and TPUSA, you and the Utah County's Attorney's Office, the prosecution team, the official news media, this administration, the FBI. You are the misinformation.
But technically, you're taking all these arrows from Candace's audience, right? You could just wait. I'm not saying you should do this, but you could just wait till all the truth comes out in the trial. Then he's guilty, and then you can be a hot boo-boo Candace.
And we could just wait when the leftists take over. We could just wait and not point out the fact that they're lying and they're manipulating people and all those other things. I'm doing this. I can't speak for everybody else, but I think this is an existential threat to our country. I really do. When we can go out and we can manipulate millions of people and convince them of lies. And by the way, I do think that this is much bigger than Candace, and it's not even about. Candace is a mascot for what's really happening. And what we have is our political and our foreign adversaries that are capitalizing on this moment, dividing the right to make sure that they defeat Trump.
But Gary, this is what pissed me off. This is what pissed me off the most. And I respect you guys for covering. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't. I'm just saying let's not be hypocritical. You guys have gotten some views from it. But when they asked Donald Trump, what do you think about Charlie Kirk's death? And then he goes, look at that big ballroom.
Yep.
That pisses me off.
Sure, but that's not
I'm saying, so Donald Trump, if Donald Trump, the guy that helped him win the election, Charlie Kirk, he should be allocating the majority of his resources on this. And I don't see that. I don't think Kash Patel at Rao is texting, we caught him.
Notice that Alex is on the side of Buckley and Harrison and Gabriella. Alex is actually on our side. He still believes some of the official narrative. I think as far as he goes is that he believes Charlie was shot. I think that's all he believes. I think he believes that Charlie was shot. That's it. Everything else, he seems to believe what we believe. Hey, you guys, real quick. We have 771 people here and 343 likes. Can you guys do me a favor while we're here, while I have you guys here? Please hit the like and hit the subscribe. Thank you. Thank you very much.
they would say that he's put his finger on the scale. I think he's intentional.
That's the president of the United States.
No way. Government interventionism. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but I was approached to work and do work for a company that is working with the White House, that's working with Sebastian Gorka, and you want to talk about like terrorism or do we have trust in our institutions psychologically? This was with Sebastian Gorka and the director of Cognitive Advantage. And
what?
He literally was in a podcast last year saying that the government will exercise social aspects in which they hope to get they basically want to manipulate individuals or groups of people to act a certain way that's beneficial to the government, not beneficial to the country. And he even caveated that in saying, it's beneficial to the government, but some of these things are beneficial to the country or to the people. And so I hear that, and I hear this cognitive advantage research, and I hear Sebastian Gorka, who's had a slew of issues, and I don't want to go on this whole tirade, but has a slew of issues with security clearances and what citizen is he truly beholden to of what country is very confusing to me. And I see this company, Vine and Fig Tree, that I was approached to do work for. And when I got access to their documents, because for some reason, the third party that put us together never had me sign an NDA. And I posted about all this. I don't have a paywall for it. You can see it yourself. There's a Charlie Kirk report in there. And one of the very first times that I was introduced to the man who was named JP, I never got his last name, that runs Vine and Fig Tree, he said repeatedly was that for the projects that I was working on for the White House, they were supposed to look like they weren't coming from the White House. And it was all supposed to be about like foreign bots and collecting information on individuals.
Don't understand how that's relevant.
I'm going to tell you right now, in the Charlie Kirk report, they said that individuals are being fooled. That's everything that you were saying is like, this sounds exactly like the VFT report, is that if we have a question, if something doesn't smell right, something doesn't fit right, outside of Candace, like put that aside. Sure. If something doesn't feel right,
we should be skeptical of our government.
Then we're being fools of it was Pakistan, Russia,
I think it's China, Russia, Iran, and probably most of Europe.
According to the government-aligned entities, it's Pakistan and Russia and Iran. And so when you see that they had said they were responsible for some of the bots that were on Twitter, it's in the reports, and they have said it to me. And again, it is in the reports that they're exercising and collecting information and trying to beat out Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, anyone that was specific for this Charlie Kirk report. So I just have an issue with that. It just seems very odd that we would, when you talk about allocating resources, instead of the White House, the administration that worked so closely with Charlie, allocating really important resources to ensure that this is a good and right and just trial. Why were they allocating resources and putting out bots immediately, a month
because
after
we have foreign
the Charlie
enemies that are
Kirk
doing the same
assassination?
thing for sure.
I just don't think that's right. And that's just and I've laid all that stuff out many times. I will defend it. And that's where I stand. I think a lot of people had felt that weird compact nonstop on the internet outside of the big people with the platforms. It's hard to look away from seeing the discrepancies, the behaviors. As a security contractor, hearing Brian Harpole's explanation on certain elements, or throwing caution to the wind for the rooftop, it's just not right. And if you exercise that type of lack of preparedness for a client, and they knew that, and it doesn't result in an assassination because he had very successful trips prior to that. But I'm sure there were threats elsewhere, or maybe even present for some of those trips. It just seems very odd. And so I just
well, I mean, Charlie Kirk wasn't the president, and we can't expect him to have a presidential detail. I used to teach literally.
I never said that he should have presidential
detail. What I'm saying is what he was paying for was a bodyguard detail, and they are responsible for what they're capable of doing and their capabilities. Now, if TPUSA had determined, we need to have rooftop coverage, that's probably another $15,000 per site that they're going to.
But that's a drop in the bucket for Turning Point.
What's that?
That's $15,000. It's nothing.
It's nothing. And after Butler, it should be mandatory for anyone that is like Charlie or a political figure or anyone that's famous and has as many death threats as Charlie had. That extra $15,000 per event is nothing for Turning Point USA and for Charlie, and it should be mandatory, and it wasn't. Okay, and that would have been up to. I mean, Charlie voiced his opinions about Butler, and he believed. I think that he probably raised these specific opinions about roofs because we have I think Brian Harple and Dan Flood trying to cover their butt by asking for one roof to get covered. One. And I don't think Charlie would have known. Maybe he might have known the name of every building and which one, but each event is at a different campus. If Charlie just went to Brian and said, hey, Brian and Dan, I need you guys to make sure that any potential roof that could take a shot from me from a distance, I need you to make sure it gets covered, right? And that he goes then to Chief Long to make sure the one roof that didn't need to be covered got covered, and all the rest didn't. And yeah, 15 grand is, a flip in the bucket to Turning Point USA, and it should have been mandatory, and it wasn't. That's gross negligence, in my opinion.
I'm just like,
you realize you're arguing that the shot came from the roof because of it.
I do think I just, for me, all the conspiracies, I think there was a shot. Was it Tyler Robinson? Maybe with Lance Fix was you radicalized? I just know that Charlie was shot from the people that I've talked to. I could be wrong. We'll find out.
You're not part of the microphone.
I don't think the microphone exploded on his chest. I used his microphone. I've been mic'd up by similar people.
You're not part of the palm gun theory.
No, I don't think
there are actually other weapons that we don't have full command of.
But so this is the evidence. The absence of evidence is the evidence. There are other stuff. We have no indication it was used, but there are other stuff.
Have you ever shot a 30-06?
I've shot a rifle.
No.
Have you ever shot a 30-06?
I would have to double check which rifle I've shot.
You're laughing. You're laughing.
I just posted this the other day.
I've had one my whole life. I've got a ton of guns, and I've got a 30-06, and I don't even shoot it because I don't like it, and I don't do anything bird hunting or clay targets, whatever. But I've had this gun my whole life. I do not shoot it very often. I know this. I could not fit it down my trousers and walk around a campus with it, and then I could not pull it out with a scope, lay down, take a shot at 160 yards. And
there's like a dozen people on YouTube that have done this.
I know. I've seen people put it together, but that is weird. Gary, that is weird that he took it apart. That's where I'm like, did he take it apart and put it back together? Like that? There's
nothing hard about it. Why
there's two screws or whatever. I know,
what
but
about
it's just
sighting in your scope? Are you telling me that's not going to knock the scope off?
So and I've literally done this. Like you could take the receiver off, the buttstock off, put it back on, and at 100 yards, you're not going to miss without a doubt.
Well, but Buckley, he did get shot in the neck. It's not like most people are going to go for a neck shot. It might have been an off-centered. After having put it back on, he was going for the torso. Okay. But again, that's what the trial's for. When we're getting into the Egyptian planes, when we're getting into speculation.
Come on, I'm actually really skeptical. You keep bringing up Egyptian planes. Maybe there were, maybe there weren't.
That's not what we're talking about.
I don't think it'd be that crazy.
This is the problem with these people, and I don't mind saying these people because they are these people. Okay, Candace has brought up from September to today so many different things that when she gets the tips, when she gets the investigative leads, and she brings it out, especially at the time that she did, that was early on. If you remember, that was in the fall of 2025. Okay, it's not only that she brings it out so that the decentralized investigation online sleuths can now do their due diligence and research it more and then send her back what she found. She never said that like the Egyptian planes thing is like directly going to be like, the smoking gun in the Tyler Robinson, acquittal or the Charlie Kirk investigation case. Okay. She brings up different things that get brought to her at different times and wants everyone to know and then go research more and bring it back. Okay. But the fact that Viva Frei continues to bring Egyptian planes, it's such like I don't know what you call it, a red herring or a straw man. Let me read this real quick. Gary is the worst. Why does he keep bringing up Candace Owens? People are making great points, a great discussion, and he changes the subject back to Candace Owens. Yep, sure does. Do you feel Barron disregards you intentionally? That's a tough question. Yes.
Would we have gone to war with Iran if Charlie Kirk was still alive?
There's one thing about Egyptian planes.
Is it odd that every single, you said you were called a Zionist. Wait, let me finish this point really quickly because it dovetails with what Gabby just said. You said you've been called a Zionist. I guess you've been called a Zionist too. I've got a pretty small account on X, and I've just asked questions. I've never attacked anybody at Turning Point. I've attacked the FBI a few times, and I've attacked the narrative, which to me is obvious bullshit. And every single person I know thinks it's obvious bullshit. So that's it. Nothing really out of the ordinary.
What about the narrative?
Wait, really quickly. Yeah. I have been swarmed to a degree. It was like overwhelming. I'm talking hundreds of tiny little bot accounts and people who are clearly paid. And every single one of them is a Zionist. Every single one of them is pro-war.
and they all call me a Jew hater or they call me an anti-Semite
for
asking questions about Charlie Kirk's dad.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yes, the planes were proven. Tucker Carlson confirmed the Egyptian planes were tracking Erica Kirk. Right. No, I'm not saying that the Egyptian planes, they're saying like the Egyptian planes is like some pivotal piece in the investigation into Tyler Robinson. Okay. How Candace brought it up was to bring up that like the connections, the ties that Erica had, and that these ties went back years, right? And that Egyptian planes, which always is Mossad masquerading as Egyptian planes. That's one of the covers that the Mossad use. They fly out of Cairo, okay? And I forget whether what the other city is in Egypt that they fly out of, but these Egyptian planes with the Egyptian plane numbers are not just Egyptian, okay? But that Erica has connections and ties, long-lasting ones, to intelligence. She was on a CIA documentary. Her and her mom is a military contractor. It wasn't to say like the Egyptian planes, you know, are the ones that like killed Charlie Kirk. It's to show the broader network of the conspiracy about everyone connected to the planning, preparation, execution, and cover-up of the Charlie Kirk assassination. That was my point. And they keep trying to bring it up as if like, you're crazy if you believe anything at all about Egyptian planes or about maroon shirts.
What's the correlation there? They're very well paid to do that. That's obvious. Gabby just demonstrated that, she was approached by
Buckley's point, though, I think it's weird because literally Laura Loomer was like, F Charlie Kirk, he's having Tucker Carlson speak at America Fest. He's an anti-Semite. And then as soon as he dies, Laura Loomer is the biggest Charlie Kirk fan.
Well,
and
the opposite is true too. Like people that hated Charlie Kirk,
well, that's fair.
Ian Carroll, Ryan Mata, I could name.
They didn't hate him; they disagree with him. They
they called him a Jew. They called him a
serving the enemy or something, like, serving the Zionists.
And so, but let's. So
are we really not going to talk about the Hamptons?
But there's a lot of feelings here, and there's a lot of circumstantial things that we can plug in left and right. But like, what evidence does people have that something nefarious occurred outside of the official narrative?
I find it odd that the government was working with a company that made bots
we're probably never going to see the evidence because for this to have been performed as it was, it's going to require a state actor, at least one, probably two. Okay. It's going to require the complicity of the U.S. government, obviously. So are we ever going to have evidence?
Let's say that's true. Let's say that's true.
But let me just finish my point really quickly. Because no one's ever mentioned it beyond you being accused of a Zionist, me being accused as a Jew hater, just because I'm simply questioning the narrative. Charlie was under a tremendous amount of pressure. Charlie was, as you said, David, very influential with the younger Americans. There is a split between younger Americans and boomers on Israel's influence in America and how much they wield. It is overwhelming. Younger Americans are saying, enough of this nonsense. Let's focus on America and America's many problems. Let's not go to war for another country. Let's not be influenced by Israel. That is definite. Charlie had a huge amount of influence among those people. He'd been a well-documented Zionist for his entire career. Then he started having legitimate questions that he expressed to all sorts of people. But it's really fucking important. Excuse my language.
No.
And then weeks before he died, he gets pulled into a struggle session at Bill Ackman's house with Josh Hammer, with Seth Dillon, and all these other people who were aggressive Zionists, pro-war Zionists. Bibi gets called, they offer him money or they don't, but Charlie turns it down. You're dismissing it as if it's not important.
No,
but
I'm saying it's not
important.
evidence. It's
so important that you didn't even mention it when you're mentioning all these other foreign actors.
Because it's not evidence of an act.
Oh, well, let's take a look at something real quick. Here we go. Charlie Kirk to Brett Weinstein, right? This was on June 18th, right? That's right around when Charlie Kirk had the Student Action Summit, the Chapter Leadership Summit, when he sat down with the chapter leaders and talked about Israel the entire time with Andrew Colvett. It's when he had Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly on to go max on Israel. It's also when he had Josh Hammer get destroyed by Dave Smith, all about Israel, okay? And that's when the ramping up was occurring in the White House for the war in Iran and the bombing that was getting planned and was about to get us entangled in another foreign quagmire forever war. And right here, it says the proponents of the regime change have pivoted the last 24 hours. They know they are losing and their position is indefensible and unpopular. Keep the pressure on. Okay, right there with you, Charlie. We have to shut these maniacs down. Not only is the Republic depending on it, but the citizens of Israel are too. Thank you. I totally agree. And by the way, I think the president needs us to keep the pressure on. The neocons are very vocal and admittedly powerful, but the public does not want war, especially not to be dragged into one by a belligerent Israeli regime. I know we need to do better. I have a theory on this, which is the power of dissident media is very good retroactively at uncovering injustice or scandal like COVID, Ukraine, border, etc. We are not good at driving real-time mass public opinion yet. The neocons are. I'm doing all I can, truly. I was in the White House all day fighting for America, same tomorrow. And that was before the Hamptons. All of this is connected. All of it's connected.
It's not evidence of an act.
Well, I will say this.
You don't need an evidence. It's
so let's
Don't need evidence.
let's
wait,
grant.
hold
That's not what
on.
he said.
So hold on, let's grant all that. Let's
Oh
say
my
that the United
gosh.
States was complicit
Such
in, I
bad
guess,
faith.
them, the French Foreign Legion, and
Mossad.
no,
they do work
that-
together.
But they all work together.
I'm just saying it's hugely relevant. How
Well,
could
it's
it not
relevant,
be?
but what also is
And then our
relevant-
country is now going into an
relevant.
America
It would be
destroying.
relevant to intent and potential motive. Thank you.
He
Good.
literally has
Now, do you have
thousands
any evidence of an
death threats by the
actual
left.
act?
Literally thousands.
Like, any
Yeah, he
evidence
was
of an actual
he was
act?
murdered in
Real quick,
public.
what was Tyler
He
Robinson's
was
number?
murdered in public.
Real quick.
That's a fact.
And then shortly thereafter, Donald Trump betrayed his base, betrayed his country, betrayed what he'd
Do you
said
have
for
any
over a
evidence
decade.
of an act
and
of an
took us to war
Israeli
in
actor
Iran.
or any
So
other
I
agent?
think that's pretty
We don't
compelling
have any
evidence.
No, that's not,
Viva,
that's not evidence
Viva,
of an act.
Viva,
That's
we
the
don't
who
have
took the
real
shot.
quick.
Fine.
Just
And
answer
that's
Viva.
evidence of a consequence. Hold on. It's evidence of a consequence
Call it
following
what
from
you
an
want.
action.
It's pretty
not
clear.
evidence of. Do you have any evidence that any member of the Israeli government intelligence had any role to play in this shooting?
No, but it was weird how Benjamin Netanyahu came out there immediately and said, I had nothing to do with it. I think he was very.
Well, he was already being
he
accused of
does protest too much, but I will ask you this. And I'm saying this defending. I'm basically on your side. I agree with you like 90%. But when a detective goes to a crime scene, the first thing they look for a suspect is motive. What was
Needs
Tyler Robinson's
opportunity.
motive?
Well, he said it. He actually confessed. He has 11 different confessions. He talked about it.
No, but it's amazing. You
11.
say like, okay, well, Charlie was turning on Israel, and he would have swayed an entire generation of young conservatives.
Yep.
He had turned on the trans community already. So by your own rationale,
No.
the same logic applies equally to both.
Which
No.
is a multi-billion-dollar
hold on.
industry.
The only difference is there's evidence of an act when it comes to Tyler and Lance Twigg.
And I'll give you evidence that the U.S. wasn't involved or Israel wasn't involved. And here it is.
Oh,
Because if first of all, if they're like, all right,
he says, I'll give you evidence. And then he says, if. Gary, can you follow your own criteria for evidence? I'll give you evidence. Here we go. Let me tell you a story. If that was the case, I'll grant you and Andrew Wilson are such just hacks, dude.
we're going to have this extremely sophisticated multi-agency, multinational conspiracy. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a guy up there. He's going to shoot from a different direction. We're going to have a patsy. I don't know if we're saying that it's Tyler Robinson or not. And, you know, they get done. It was so, with 3,000 people, we never saw anything. We don't have him on camera. They got away with it clean.
Wait, but we
And
just
then-
talked
and then-
about
hold on,
this
hold on.
like 7
Hold on.
You just said that there is. It's all over camera. What are you talking about? It's you said you got 4K of it.
So then they take off and like, hey, good job, we did it. Oh, by the way, what'd you shoot him with? 223. What would we give the patsy? A 30-06. And here's another one. The easiest element of this to fabricate. Please explain to me if this was a big conspiracy, why this wasn't why was it fabricated? Is like the ballistics report. That bullet. Like how hard would it be to fake just a bullet? Like, yep, it matches, but that's not what they did. They have a piece.
So this was his evidence. He says, I'll give you evidence. I'll prove it to you right now. And then gives a hypothetical. Hey, Gary, okay, just because you can't imagine why and how they did this, and like if this was truly a conspiracy, everything had to be tied up in a neat bow and had to be perfect. No, not at all. JFK, Martin Luther King, Robert F. Kennedy, Teddy, all of it. Okay, even 9/11. It's because they're ran by humans, okay, that are stupid. So, and because they have the power and all the mechanisms and levers of control, that even when it goes sideways and things get, are outside of their control, it doesn't matter. They control the outcome either way. The Hegelian dialectic, right? They have the problem, they control the reaction and the solution. Okay. And not every little piece of this needs to be perfect, because that could also be more evidence of a conspiracy. If everything was too perfect, if everything just fit in its perfect spot, I can make the same argument against what you're saying. You're such a moron, Gary. I want a skinny pants demo with the gun with these guys. Yeah, they're never going to do it. Gary, not so tactical, clearly received debate tips from Andrew Wilson. Yes, he did. So did Andrew Colvett earlier today in a show. He's talking about the what is it? The fallacy of the gaps, or the argument of the gaps. They're all communicating. They're all receiving tips and giving tips to one another. I guarantee you they have a group chat that they're all communicating on a daily basis, checking in and feeding each other information. 100%.
Pieces of a bullet, and they're like, hey, it's inconclusive. They could have shot a round through that rifle, recovered it, put it in there, but all of this tapestry,
Here's the thing. We don't think a bullet was fired from the 30-06, idiot. And based on your own argument, you're saying that bullet does match a 30-06 round. You're saying, okay, I know that you said, okay. The ballistics report said it was unable, so it was inconclusive to be able to be directly, definitively tied back to that gun. But by your own admission, by the prosecution's admission, this is a 30 caliber round, which is compatible with being fired from the 30-06. So what are you talking about? It is. You're such an idiot, dude. Okay. Alex isn't on our side. He's just smarter and more honest than Gary and Viva. Harrison too. They just aren't delusional and have more self-awareness. No, I know they're not fully on our side. I know that. But I would love to interview Alex to find out everything. They're more on our side. Okay, not Harrison. Well, a little bit. But I mean, then he engaged in that his hit piece with Brandon Straka against Candace. They're not on our side fully. I know that. But in parts they are. And yeah, I'd love to ask him questions.
everything that they did that was so sophisticated and took so much work and so many people involved, the one thing they missed up was the wrong rifle. And by the way, they didn't fake the bullet.
You know,
they
did.
What are you talking about?
Fair, but I will say this is kind of this is the premise of what we were talking about when we were talking about conspiracy theories in general and compartmentalization. Like, not everyone knows what piece they are in the puzzle. If this was a bad faith actor or bad faith actors, they don't get the full sight picture. They're just a piece. So they might think that they're complicit in one thing, but really they were part of another piece to what happened to Charlie.
Yep.
That is totally fair.
The amount of speculation this requires.
Connected to other people.
It could be anything. He could have thought that he actually shot him, but maybe I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying it can or it can't be. That's a possibility either which way.
If you are untethered from rules of evidence.
I think that's a fine question to ask. But you said, what was the point of, or have I seen any evidence of any other state actors? Well, VFT was made up of individuals from the IDF working with, again, the White House. And one of the first things they did was say that Charlie fell for the op when it came to his stance on Israel changing, and then made bot accounts trying to overflood social media for people to not buy into, hey, maybe there was something about that. Maybe there was
Maybe there wasn't.
funky, maybe there was, but maybe there wasn't. But why is the White House interested?
Let me make
why
this
are they
point.
supporting?
I just want to make this I think we probably need to wrap this up. I think we're almost at like kind of a standstill, but I will say this. This is what I'm worried about. And I understand people are like,
Alex, shut up. No one needs to wrap anything up. We need to stay here as long as it takes.
Oh, Candace is going to taint the jury. But I'm even worse. I'm even worried about a worse outcome. It's not even that the jury's going to be tainted, that somehow Tyler Robinson is found innocent, like OJ was found innocent, because they want this, just like how Trump, I think majority of us would say that he won the 2020 election, right? Yeah. And the majority of us would think that Tyler Robinson is guilty of it. And then all of a sudden he gets not guilty. And then what that's going to do is that's going to radicalize conservatives. So this could be like a bigger thing, bigger than Mossad. It could be, I don't know. I'm not just trying to, I know this is just conspiratorial, but I'm very worried about that. And that's why I'm frustrated that the FBI, and this is not a federal case, because a federal case, if it was 99%, when you go to a federal trial, you're guilty. If you go there, you're toast. You're not going to win. But in the state level, there is a possibility. There's Candace and there's this and there's that. And if he was somehow found not guilty and if we don't ever have a justice in the situation, that's going to radicalize a lot of young people. That's gonna be the worst outcome, and I'm worried about that.
That's going to happen either way, and that's honestly my biggest concern. And I'm so glad you brought up OJ earlier, because this is probably in my lifetime the next example since OJ where a crime has become a team sport, and this is very much a team sport. I personally think it's sort of insane that people are this invested in before we've gotten to the trial. It'd be one thing if we got to the trial and people are upset at the outcome, but people have already made up their minds before the trial. So whether you sound guilty or not guilty, one group of people I think already has been radicalized. And this is something that we're never going to get over ever, because one group of people is going to permanently have a negative reaction to this, and it's never going to die. It's never going to go away.
And that's probably why Charlie is dead today.
And the responsible thing to do, I think there should be some people that are adults in the rooms and say all the things that we said. Like look, you can't just, every time that there's a gap of information, it doesn't make sense to just use your imagination and fill it with what things are possible. And by the way,
this is the evidence of the gaps. This is Andrew Wilson's argument. And this for sure was a tip that Andrew Wilson used against Candace Owens, and also told Andrew Colvett, because he just said it yesterday and today on his show. And now here's Gary Melton. I think it's called Evidence of the Gaps. Right, it's called an evidence gap occurs when there's missing, incomplete, or contradictory information, research that prevents a firm conclusion. Understanding, that's not the gaps in philosophy and science. God of the gaps, that's what it is. God of the gaps. It is a theological concept where explained scientific phenomena are attributed directly to divine action. The critique. Critics argue that using current knowledge gaps as proof for God weakens as science. It's not just for a philosophical. I'll look it up. I'll keep going. Hold on.
They put a lot of people at risk and harm because you're accusing them. And so it's like, hey, we should wait for the information to come out. That's the responsible thing to do. And then also, if you are going to conduct a civilian, a crowdsourced investigation, well, there's some basic steps that you would take to do that. If you were being rational and you were acting in good faith, I don't know, you go there. You actually go there, you interview people. We've never seen interviews of multiple people on Candace's show.
It's not about Candace. This is not about Candace.
Look, wait, does Candace have more
hold on.
influence with the potential jury than the President of the United States, the Vice President, the U.S. Senator?
To a lot of resources where she could bring people in and talk. She's never had, I've had lawyers on my show that are defense lawyers like, hey, let's go through this. Could this be fabricated? Tell me what's, like, impeach the case that they have. She's never done that. She's withheld information time and time again. She's pushed crazy conspiracy theories that undermine the truth of this, that damage people, that sit there here that like, yep, the French did it, or the U.S. government did it, or they had this thing at Fort Huachuca where they planned his murder. My God, now we're implicating
she never said they
military. We're implicating U.S. military men and women without any evidence, saying that they're involved with the assassination. A conventional forces unit is going to conduct the clandestine operation where we're going to assassinate a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. This is now the reality that people live in.
She said all that.
Well,
I'm not here to defend Candace.
No. Yeah, and I don't think it's fair for us to go full send on her when she doesn't even. She's not sitting here. Yeah. We've addressed her multiple times.
I think it's just generally speaking, there's a responsible way to do this.
Gary, how about this though? Isn't it weird that Donald Trump picked up the phone when Candace was getting sued by Brigitte Marcon, but Candace has never come on our podcast and said, well, Donald Trump's called me and told me to shut up.
Yeah, I don't think Donald Trump should have done that.
I'm saying I think Donald Trump should be getting involved. I don't think Donald Trump would be president without Charlie Kirk. So I guess my frustration is that Candace can be her own separate thing. She can be on an island, but I think they could be using her as a pawn to divide us, because that's really at the end of the day. I'm saying that's a conspiracy. They want us fighting each other like this, right? And then it ruins the movement.
Here's the problem. Candace Owens comes out with all this crazy stuff. I completely agree about Egyptian planes and whatever else. And now if you have any questions about the official story, people like Gary get to say, oh, so now it's an exploding microphone, and you bring up all this stuff, and it's like,
which is redolent of JFK, and
but that's
flooding the zone.
That's literally the conspiracy theory was created created after JFK to demonize people that are looking
we
into
also
the official
appreciate
story.
that there are operations to muddy the waters specifically so that you can't have the meaningful discourse. I mean,
Of
that's
course,
part of the,
that's probably what's happening now.
Much like in, people don't like the analogy, but in Sandy Hook, when you had people pushing the nobody died theory, yeah, it gives people the moral authority to then say, I no longer need to entertain any of your meaningful discussion.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to filling in the blanks, if there's a shred of evidence to support it, there's nothing that should be off the table. But you don't get to fill in the blanks with, it must be Israel because they would have motive, they would benefit from it, but I have zero evidence of any act.
I didn't say it must be Israel.
But people, when people came out,
you can't not discuss Israel. Gary mentioned 4 different countries, none of whom were Israel.
But
I think Israel is pretty relevant.
You can discuss Israel in terms of hypothetical possibilities based on motive until there's concrete evidence of an act. And that would, the questions that I still have are the same ones that I had from the beginning. Who was in those Discord chats? Who radicalized Taylor Robinson? Was there a domestic element in there?
Yes.
Were those chats authentic?
I don't believe. Well, that'll come out of trial. That'll come out of trial. Yes. But that will come out of trial. When you present the evidence, you have to show the history of it. But I don't believe the FBI when they say, yeah, we've investigated everybody in the Discord chats and there was nothing bizarre going on there. And George Zinn just happens to be there, happens to take credit for the shooting.
That was so bizarre.
Just happens to have trout porn on his phone.
But you understand what has happened now as a result of the tangents of baseless accusations. We don't even address those questions anymore.
Oh, I think we're still addressing them. I still think that's very relevant.
Harrison has
all of us.
What Harrison?
In all honesty, if let's just say we could go back in time, we have a spectroscope, we can see exactly what happened, all the details, everything. Yeah. If Israel was directly involved, not with an exploding microphone, but it's just whoever shot the shot was an Israeli agent. He hopped on a plane 5 minutes later out of Orem and shot off, never to be seen again. What evidence do you think the American government would provide to the American people about that?
None.
What evidence would they provide? I mean, the argument's going to be they probably would not provide any.
They would cover
That's what I'm asking. I'm saying like.
And I appreciate what you're saying. It's like, well, I could anticipate that they would go out of their way to conceal that because it might lead to an annihilation of a country. Okay. But by the way, there's more evidence of that having happened during the Las Vegas shooting than there is during Trump.
That's a perfect example. The Las Vegas is what was the motive there. That was a whole weird thing that happened during Trump.
It's another aspect of the failure of our leadership in our country to gain any trust with the American people.
Nobody trusts them. So the FBI comes out and says, we've investigated the Discord chats. Who believes them? No one's going to raise their hand here.
But it's also
Gary does. No, Gary believes. Don't let him off so easy, Viva Frei. Gary believes all of it. Let me read a couple of these real quick. We got Gary is a moron. Yes, he is. On 100%. Note, we wouldn't know any of this without Candace Owens. 1,000,000%. End of story. 1,000,000%. They leaked to her because they were scared to come forward. She sacrificed everything. Yes, Laser Queen. 1,000,000%. Laugh out loud. I want to see Gary lateral crawl. Me too. Gary was clearly calling for end of free speech. Yes, and he still is. No one said the government is competent. Nope. How is Alex pontificating on Tyler's guilt? 12 jurors decide his guilt. He should get off based on the evidence we've seen thus far. Yes, Whimsisms. Yes.
That if Israel was involved, we would never know about it. So therefore, an absence of evidence is not really a absence
if Israel was involved,
because it's assumed that even if it was Israel,
we would never know.
Never hear about it. So nobody, it was Israel's side is expecting there to be any evidence because it would be the understanding that the American government would be.
Well, you would have to believe that in spite of a lot of other evidence. It's one thing to believe.
What evidence?
Believe in something without evidence. The problem with the conspiracy side is they believe something in spite of evidence against it. And
so that is the argument. It's the evidence of the gaps, right? And let's see. Hold on. Where did I have it pulled up? Yes, I checked the debate transcript. Wait, hold on. For his argument was essentially that Candace was taking unexplained facts, anomalies, inconsistencies, or missing evidence and treating those gaps as affirmative evidence for her alternative theory. Let's see. There's something about the evidence that hasn't been adequately explained. Therefore, this supports Tyler Robinson being a patsy. The fact that Gary, Andrew Colvett, and Andrew Wilson are all taking the same approach against Candace Owens and the official and our alternative narrative, in my opinion, points to them all clearly coordinating and working together.
There is evidence against that because we do have evidence of Tyler Robinson. We're going to see a cell phone. We're going to see where he was. We're going to see that Lance Twiggs was sending messages back where he was while all this stuff was going on.
We're going to see clear video of him taking the shot.
What's that?
We're going to see clear video of him.
We don't need any video.
But but again, say this: the government is sophisticated enough. If this was Mossad and CIA, they would work hand in hand. So I'm saying Israel and America.
So they're so sophisticated that they would get the bullet wrong.
Yes, I said what I said earlier is that compartmentalized.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we know that it's possible. That they could do that. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
And the slightest shred of evidence are three very different things. If you want to find the Israeli connection, where you're probably going to find more of a foreign nexus is whoever was in those Discord chats, whoever was LARPing at.
So Brick Suit Guy and I forget this guy's name have not contributed anything thus far, really, at all. They're just taking up air. Let's see. Viva is a Viva fled Canada during the Freedom Trucker convoy. He's a carpetbagger. Didn't have the guts to fight his own government, comes here to blank for ours. Yes, I agree.
As whatever, but we don't get to go there now because unfortunately the discussion, the entire thing.
Viva, if you believe that there's somebody in the Discord chat radicalizing him, then I think that you could also believe that there would be another person to make sure that, let's say he was radicalized, but that they actually took out Charlie, right? So, if you believe that there could be an FBI radicalizing him or Mossad radicalizing him, you could believe that Mossad would take the shot as well, right?
No, except one is based on evidence as we currently understand it. There were Discord chats, and the other one is pure fabricated.
And his parents turned him in. He confessed. Look, in the charging documents, it clearly states that Tyler Robinson confessed to his parents. And he gave a very definitive statements that he did it. Like the first thing that the defense would have done would have been like, hey, let's talk about these statements. If they didn't bring the parents on to impeach that, they would at least brought in the officer that took down the statements. Did Tyler Robinson say to his parents X, Y, and Z?
Nope.
And couldn't you also make the exact same argument that they would want to save that for trial?
No, because you don't want to get to a trial which carries a possible death penalty. Yeah. If you can,
that's your argument with the prosecution that they're saving their best stuff for trial. That's your argument for everything that the prosecution has done. Gosh, these people can't be consistent.
Attack probable cause by saying he never confessed to his parents, and here's his mother saying he never confessed to her. You do that at the probable cause. Right. You don't say, we'll go to trial that has a potential death penalty and take our chances there. And by the way, when I asked the question, and I got the most outlandish, idiotic answer, why didn't the defense call the parents if he didn't actually confess to the parents and they weren't the ones who actually turned them in? The answer I got was, because I suspect that the parents might have been asked if he confessed to committing other crimes, and the answer would have been yes. I mean, that's idiotic.
No one's ever said that.
Idiotic.
Who gave you
None
that
of us.
One of the analysts who's out there spreading disinformation that requires me to come on and say, legally, that makes no sense.
Who?
And so then, he was drifting off this too.
He made it up.
I would have been covering this like any other legal proceeding just to make sure people understood the difference between a preliminary hearing and a trial, and not having to debunk the receipt from Panguitch, which we're still waiting for that tangent to be disproven or for them to apologize for the disinformation. But the reality is anything's possible.
All about
and until you have the slightest shred of evidence to substantiate it, you are operating in pure hypothetical conjecture.
Well,
and it's good, do it.
But
don't pretend you're just asking
Joe
questions.
Penn saying on record several times that he was prevented from exploring.
Well, because
Can I finish the question?
Yes, go ahead.
That's I agree with that, especially if Patel investigating a foreign nexus with those Discord chats might have revealed a domestic nexus. We know that there were more feds involved in the Gretchen Whitnapping plot than actual defendants.
In January 6th,
of course.
There were 3 defendants, 12 or 15.
12 agents,
we know that there were feds in January 6th setting it up in advance. Yeah. And so hypothetically, and this is where my mind goes, and it's the darkest of darkest thoughts, if there was not a foreign nexus, but a domestic nexus in radicalizing Thomas Crooks, Tyler Robinson, and it resulted in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, people would be burning government buildings down right now. Well, that's where you might have the government having.
Well, the NCTC, the National Counterterrorism, he has zero investigative authority. Zero. That is not what he does. That is a fusion center. Information comes in. So when he is getting involved in Butler and when he is getting involved
He's a liar.
In the Charlie Kirk assassination, he is so far outside of his lane. We had multiple terrorist attacks that occurred under his watch that he should have been paying attention to, but he is literally doing something that is not his job. He doesn't have the authority to do. And he can give information, he can give advice, but they don't have to take it. And by the way, if I was investigating something and somebody from a different department said, Gary, you know what, I think you should do X, Y, and Z. Well, thank you for your opinion. Why don't you go do your job?
Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
There will be a trial for Tyler one day, and there will be people doing righteous investigations until then. There will be people doing opportunistic investigations, and there will be people spreading disinformation like there was during COVID, like there was during any meaningful, politically relevant act. And so the question is, you decipher between all of these options. It's not a question of stifling freedom of speech.
All right, real quick. So the NCTC's statutory mission is to analyze and to integrate U.S. government intelligence concerning terrorism and counterterrorism, except intelligence that pertains exclusively to domestic terrorism. It is specifically designed to bridge foreign and domestic intelligence holdings, which would have been the case if our intelligence and foreign intelligence was engaged in something that spanned between multiple governments, ours, our country, and others. Okay. The foreign nexus analysis, terrorist identity network analysis, information sharing, and transitional link analysis. Gary's a liar.
It's not a question of deplatforming people, and it's not a question of legitimizing lawfare. People should be free to say what they want to say. When they make mistakes and they discredit themselves, that's when they should apologize and maybe reflect. And we haven't seen a whole hell of a lot of
How about you apologize?
Tonight, the debate continues. And we
it's gonna. Ooh, who do we have here? Oh, Andrew Wilson is gonna be here. We have Alex Jones, Joe Kent. I don't know who that is, and I have no clue who that is. Obviously, Andrew Wilson. Oh, this guy's a total tool. This guy on the far end. He's been on the TPUSA's show as well. Who's that? Hold on. We have Alex Jones. Oh, that guy's a total tool. So is that guy. All these people have been on TPUSA's show. Yeah. It's just going to be very loud music. But so this, I wonder when this comes out. So that was the end of this, but we're not done. Hold on. Let's go to here. Videos. That's this one that we're watching right now. So Owen Schroyer, that was the other J6er I was thinking about. It said later tonight that this was supposed to come out. It's not scheduled to come out yet, so I don't know. But let's see. Let me take a couple things off of here. Hold on, I'm looking at some things to catch up and see where we're at. Hold up. Well, also, did you guys know this moron did a show today? Did you guys see it? This moron did a show today. I did not get to see what it was about. Let me see where you guys are at in the audience. The preview had music, correct? Yeah. And it was going to be very loud. And you guys were asking why we didn't see the preview. I mean, okay, I can play it. That's fine. It's just going to be very loud. Okay, let me go to right here. I'll play it, but it's going to be super loud. And if it's got like, yeah, we'll see.
And maybe reflect. And we haven't seen a whole hell of a lot of that.
Tonight, the debate continues.
And we ain't going to sit there while Democratic Socialists run their revolution.
You fell for Democrat op?
No!
But this time, we've included some of the biggest voices in the movement. How did a once unified coalition with a stated goal of making America great again come to a place where some of the most powerful voices in the movement are now leaving?
Don't have a good way of establishing regime change.
Your entire position requires on telepathy.
That's ridiculous.
Who has caused the MAGA divide?
And you've got people on the right saying,
we're no longer supporting the guy that got us here. That we're never really there to begin with.
It should have been for America first.
Raise your hand if you've ever been paid to post content that would benefit a foreign nation.
Trump has said his entire political career, no nuclear weapon for Iran.
This war is going to devastate our economy, and Israel's sitting back laughing about it.
What the hell are you talking about?
And if Will is going to say that, well, this isn't as bad as Vietnam yet, that's not the way we should be analyzing a conflict the United States is in.
In the intelligence community, we assess two things: intent and capability.
This is the exact mistake Israel made in the run-up to October 7th.
Are flock cameras a serious threat to American citizens' right to privacy?
It was a non-issue until they started using it to round up illegals.
You especially, Will, don't have to be concerned, right? Because you're a raging Zionist. I have to be concerned.
People are pissed because Trump went.
What the hell do you want to do about it?
I want him to stop what he's doing and wake the fuck up.
Wow, what a wonderful plan. I want him to stop.
He's been the best president we've had on immigration in a century. He's the only president to ever meaningfully combat anti-white discrimination.
Those are huge, monumental wins that on their own would have been the defining moments of other presidents' tenure.
It's either he responds to ego or he was wrong.
Should we vote Republican?
If there's a candidate that I don't think is honoring the vision that I want for the country, no.
God. Why hasn't Trump called and apologized to him?
These were his supporters.
Until they weren't.
You guys have been talking mad shit about this guy. What do you mean?
But Alex, you called for him to be 25th. You did it twice.
The overall goal is to figure out exactly what we're going to do after President Trump.
This idea that you're going to create something that is more authentically America first than what Trump has been able to deliver is just false.
So you had to spend political capital, which is all the more reason why it shouldn't have been spent on Iran.
We were with a bombastic president who's like a used car salesman sometimes.
Well, sorry.
Hold on.
Used car salesmen don't control the goddamn nuclear weapon.
How many times have you predicted World War III now?
We're in World War III.
It is not World War III.
We're not the ones that have been doing World War III alarmism forever. That's actually been done about Iran and a nuclear weapon for decades.
You sound like a leftist.
There is an America after Trump.
Well, I want to say this is the most hardcore debate ever. Oh, but it airs before we all die in nuclear war.
I can't wait. When is it going to come out? Let me see if it's going to say the date. Nope, just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. Yeah, no date. All right, great. All right, now hold up. Let me see where everybody's at. Did he say nuclear? Yeah. Real quick, do you guys want me to like see if Andrew Wilson said anything meaningful in his show that he did tonight? Are you guys up for it, or should we catch it on the flippity flop on tomorrow? Have you seen Alex Stein's alter ego, Charlie Kirk? No. Did that come out before Charlie was murdered? Where would I look that up? Hold up, I'm looking it up right now. Yes, stay live. Okay, cool. All right, let's do it. Okay, Charlie Kirk, sometimes spelled Charlie Kurt with an I, is a satirical alter ego created by right-wing comedian and internet personality Alex Stein. The character is a direct, exaggerated parody of conservative activist and Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Character concept and background. Stein created the persona because he was frequently mistaken for Kirk by students while filming content on college campuses. He adopted the street name Charlie Kirk and dubbed him the world's greatest college campus debater in the history of the world. The parody, the character lampoons Kirk's famous Prove Me Wrong open-air campus debate format. The shtick, dressed as Charlie Kirk, Stein sets up tables at universities deliberately seeking out arguments with students. He acts overly aggressive and arrogant, using catchphrases like, "If you debate me, you die," and openly bragging about picking debates with young students because they are easier to beat. Interaction with the real Charlie Kirk. Stein has used the persona to directly confront and jokingly debate the actual Charlie Kirk on topics like illegal immigration and mass deportations, producing highly viral collaborative sketch videos. Let's see. I said, when did Stein create this alter ego and start? Oh, so Alex Stein officially created the Charlie Kirk alter ego and began his campus debate shtick in late 2024. I said, show me a video. Let's see. Charlie Kirk confronting the real Charlie Kirk. Let's see.
I'll ask Paul what God was saying. Mr. Stein? Well, Mr. Stein, that's my government name. My street name is Charlie Kirk, the world's greatest college debater. And I know you are a seasoned debater, but I am the best.
I am Charlie Kirk, the world's greatest college campus debater in the history of the world.
And I must say, Charlie, you are talking about immigration. You were talking about deportations, mass deportations. But I must say that my house.
Well, what is this saying? What is it? Mockery is the biggest form of flattery.
Has raised me since I was a little boy. And she's as legal as hell. She's as legal and illegal. So I want to say that, Charlie, why would you want to kick out my housekeeper? Because we need to protect all big booty Latinas. If you're not, you are fine. You get to stay. If you're an 8, you can have an immigration debate. If you're a 6, you can kick bricks. But Charlie, let's protect my housekeeper. Why do you want me to have to hear Charlie? You said she's legal, right? She's illegal, yes. Illegal. Illegal, yeah. She's very illegal. No pay. I'm sorry. They don't know. No, Charlie, I can't afford to pay legal money. It's like 50 cents an hour. Break your bank. Charlie, please. Just let the lady stay. She's no amnesty.
So Alex is a joke. And when did, let me see, when did TPUSA? I said, when did he start working for TPUSA and have his own show on The Real America's Voice? No way. Stein officially launched his late night show on Real America's Voice and ramped up his official campus touring with Turning Point USA in early 2026. Premiere date. His late night show, titled After Hours with Alex Stein, officially premiered on Monday, February 2nd, airing daily at 11 p.m. The show was announced in late January 2026 after Stein wrapped up his previous program, Prime Time with Alex Stein, on Glenn Beck's Blaze Media Network. Oh, great. One Israeli network to another. Working and touring with TPUSA, the start. While Stein had been a frequent guest speaker and high-profile troll at TPUSA national summits like AmFest for years, TPUSA began heavily backing and hosting his individual campus tours, including the Pick Up the Mic and Prove Me Wrong parody events, starting in late 2025 and throughout, so after Charlie was murdered. Campus integration under his official alignment, local college chapters began booking Stein to do 30-minute comedy sets, host open mic student Q&As, and set up his deliberate Charlie Kirk-style outdoor debate tables directly on school grounds. I mean, I think Charlie was always a good sport. And I think he did, what is it? Imitation is the best form of, biggest form of flattery, right? Am I saying that statement right? Imitation is the biggest form of flattery. But I think that's gross. I can't believe that TPUSA and Real America's Voice let him do that. Yeah, we love Candace Owens. Yes, we do. If Erica Kirk and Andrew Wilson had a kid, it would be Eddie Munster. I mean, Ben Shapiro. That's funny. I like that. All right, hold on. Let's get back to this. Let's see. I mean, if it's just going to be like foul language after foul language after foul language, I'm not going to do that all night.
Can we start trashing Candace now? Not.
Oh,
that's not what the stream is about, man.
That's what it always is about. What are you talking about? Your community
I know
knows.
there's some of you who just are like obsessed with only talking smack about this chick.
That's you.
But
that's
you
literally
realize that that's a flash in the pan. Like, that shit is so fucking stupid. It's not sustainable. I just got a hold of a really rare piece. It cost $7,000. That's funny. Like the stream, you filthy degen, says Drunk Batman. He's right. You should. Candace better hire a plumber because drip, motherfucker. That's right. Drip.
Yeah.
But those are Fridays.
I don't know, you guys. Let me see what time we're at right now. We're at 2 hours and 14 minutes. Hold on, let me pull. And we just a bunch of people dipped. People are impatient trying to get things pulled up. They were like, we're not waiting for you. Yeah, I don't want to just wing everything else and just wing it to wing it. I don't have anything else pulled up for right now. And I don't want to make us all sit through all of Andrew Wilson's. I have no idea where he says anything actually meaningful. Not that he ever says anything meaningful, but I mean, in relation to catching him in a lie or in deliberate misinformation or contradiction or on behalf of Turning Point USA. And so if it's okay with all of y'all, if no one else has a super chat, yeah, please, you guys remember, do me a favor. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe. After the video posts, please go over and write a comment, throw an emoji in under the video, and you can press the hype for free. Those are the free ways to help support the channel. And I appreciate it, you guys. I also don't do this often. I get reminded to do it. If you guys want to support the channel, but you don't want to give your money through YouTube, you can donate money here through buymeacoffee.com, or you can donate money through the Venmo account for the Black Line Brief here. All right. Those are different ways to help support the channel. Also, let's see. Did my brother-in-law upload a new... No, I don't see it. Okay. All right, let me see. Let me make sure I'm caught up on all the super chats. We just got another gift. Thank you so much for the gift. Really appreciate that. All right, you guys. If no one has anything else, let me refresh this real quick and see what we got to. Dang, out of 800 and something people consistently. All right, we got 562 likes. Anything is better than nothing, but you know, there's still 750 people here. If any of you haven't hit the like, please do so for me before you guys take off. And always make sure that you're subscribed. Tomorrow, oh, you guys, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central. What is if it's 5 p.m. Central? What time does that make it here on Pacific Standard Time? What time is it Pacific Standard Time if it's 5 p.m. Central? Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, because tomorrow we got a big show lined up. I'm going to tell you. Just someone. Okay, if it's 5 p.m. Central, it's 3 p.m. here. Is that true? Okay, let's see. Let me just double check. If it's 5 p.m. Central, what time is that Pacific Standard Time? Okay, everyone's saying 3. All right. So it must be 3. Okay, it is. All right. I'm having by myself Stu Peters. Stu Peters will be on Black Line Brief. Me and him, we're going to be talking about a lot of things that have been coming up lately. So what is that? Anything in relation to the Charlie Kirk assassination, but we're specifically going to be talking about the connection of Turning Point with Andrew Wilson, also Blake Neff with people in the Trump administration. We know that from the documentary that he did with Andrew Colvett, he admitted on that documentary, the one that was funded and produced by Angel Studios and Foster Fries's wife, that Blake lobbied and shilled for specific, that's not the term. It's not shilled. Is it shilled? He used a specific term. I forget what it was called. But he lobbied for specific people to be in the Trump administration to Charlie, and Charlie then did it to Trump, and those people got in. And Sarah Rogers is one of them. One of the girls that just left and started doing hit pieces on Candace Owens. Barron talked about her the other day. I forget her her handle on X. And she makes like $30,000 a month just off subscriptions alone on X. That there's a deep connection to the neocons and the evil people in this administration with Blake Neff and with TPUSA, Andrew Colvett, Erica Kirk, and all of them. All right. We're going to be talking about that and any new information that Stu also has, but you mark your calendars. Stu and I are aligned just as with you. Awesome. Yeah, I love Stu Peters. So it's going to be a great show. 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There is no Candace Owens tomorrow and no Baron Coleman. Baron Coleman's last show for the rest of the week was today. So I'm going to be going at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. And then, I don't know. I'm definitely going to be doing probably 2 shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. I got to take advantage of the opportunity. And, like Charlie Kirk said, one thing that I can control is I can outwork everybody else. Okay. My work ethic, my self-discipline, that's something I can control when, shooting for success. So definitely tomorrow you work until 7. Well, you can catch it on the replay. Carol, it's all good. It's all good. Did Andrew destroy Stu Peters? No, he never did. He's a total hack. But tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Stu Peters, the Black Line Brief. All right. And then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, 2 shows. Catch the ones that you can. Catch the other ones on the replay. All right. Love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Oh, we got this one. Thank you for the gift, Fresh Peaches. Thank you, Honey Butter, for the gift. God bless you guys. Love you guys so much. Have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay.